You stay on hard.
Welcome to the BCSN SportsWrap with Bryan and A.D. And guess who's on the road this week, y'all? Yeah, Bryan, I don't want to hear you talking not no nair piece of trash about somebody not being in their home studio. Before, what's going on, man?
Oh man, not much. It has been a day. I tried, Drew. I tried. In all honesty, I was out the door at like 7:30 this morning, but God had other plans this morning, and so it took me a while to get on the road and get out of the state of Georgia. And I'm so thankful to have family. I'm thankful that my family kind of helped me out a little bit, and so my trials aren't over, but at least I'm a little closer to home, and life will continue.
And also joining us, our football analyst, Coach Farasi Norman. Coach, what's going on, man?
AD, HBCUs, it's that time. My hands
It's
up.
that time.
What's going on, brother? How you doing? Good to be back. Good to be around good people. BF, drive safe now, man. Hope everything works out for you.
Can you hear me? Thank you, Coach. Yeah, I'm doing what I can right now. The roads are clear, and it's all good right now. So I'm about probably 2 hours away from home, maybe 2.5, really.
I'm at home, so I got that problem.
You know something? I think after yesterday, each and every person who was a part of the BCSN team yesterday had their own private adventures yesterday. Some of them we had collectively, but talking to everybody today that I did have talked to, we have all had some type of adventure today, man, coming in from Atlanta. So we hope that each and every one of you all enjoyed what you saw yesterday. And I saw your note, Bryan. So yeah, I'll fix that, Bryan. I just saw your note. Anyway, let's get some of these hellos and shout outs out the way. Let's start off with Mary 305 is in the house. Jeff Roberts. Yeah, Jeff Roberts, we gonna talk about that, man, because I was very impressed yesterday with the Spartan and Spartan Nation. Spartan Nation showed up good on yesterday. They showed up and showed out yesterday. Israel Carey, what's going on? Christopher Dukes. Hello there, my brother. Tamara T. Appreciate you joining us once again. Let's see. Jeremiah Snowfall is making people stop people. FAMU is just a lot worse than we realize. We're gonna talk about that too. I think it was a combination of both. Norfolk is better than we probably thought they were going to be coming in, and FAMU underperformed. Norfolk overperformed. FAMU underperformed, which is why you get games like we got on yesterday, because both teams had more than their fair share of opportunities to win and to lose that game on yesterday. Shout out to Ed. We here. We will be here. Theron Waters. Hell, Wildcats to you, my brother. We're gonna see y'all at the end of the season down in Orlando. Will Davis, good afternoon. Yeah, we are happy. We got out of there with one. We're just gonna say it like that. HBCU band talk. Hell, Wildcats. Yeah, we did with Wildcats also, my brother. And you know, all these dogs. You know something? It was interesting yesterday that do either one of y'all realize we did not have a cat in the game yesterday? No tigers, or a dog, no cats, no tigers, no jaguars, no Aggies, no bulldogs. We actually had two very unique mascots in the HBCU diaspora there, fellas. I don't even know if there's every time that I can remember where you didn't even have a cat or a dog in the doggone football game.
Now that you bring it up,
it's about damn time.
Now that you bring it up, I'm just thinking, wow, okay, you had a Spartan and a rattlesnake. So okay, that's unique. You're right, because mostly every HBCU is a tiger,
is or a cat,
bear, or a lion,
a member of the cat family.
Yeah, or Langston Lions.
Or some type of dog, bulldogs, Aggies, something along those lines. So yeah, very, very interesting thing that when we think about it. And I know we got some Norfolk people on here. Bryan, I don't know if you remember that question that I asked you yesterday, and we tried to research, but we couldn't find it. Can somebody from Norfolk tell me the last time Norfolk beat a member of the SWAC?
Whoa. I don't know.
I couldn't find it. I went back like 10 years and couldn't find anything. So
yeah, that's an interesting stat that you pulled up, and I'm surprised I haven't read that in anybody's pregame articles. You know, all the other HBCU media folks. I'm surprised I didn't hear that, or I didn't read that. You know what I'm saying? So it just kind of goes to show how separated they are from the other major Division I conference, you know?
Yeah. And then here's the other, how often has Norfolk played a member of the SWAC?
Well,
just throwing it out there.
I mean, technically, really wouldn't be no need to play anybody from the SWAC with all those HBCUs in their area.
Right, but even still, you know, you still like to see the cross-sectional type of events that go on. Obviously, HBCUs like to get it on with HBCU. You would have think Norfolk would have crossed the SWAC school somewhere in a classic, you know, Circle City Classic or something along those lines. But
that part right there that coach said, that's real important, and that goes to speak to Norfolk State's place on the Eastern Seaboard. You know, there are a lot of HBCUs on that Eastern Seaboard, and then there's just others. You know, they're probably more what we might call mid-major FCS schools, maybe that are up and down on that East Coast. Then it doesn't make sense for them to travel to South or Southwest. You know what I'm saying? So that's a good point. But if Norfolk State is looking to expand their reach, then being a part of events like the MEAC SWAC Challenge, possibly one day getting to the Celebration Bowl, or even maybe participating in other classics in the South, I think that would be great for the fan base and the Norfolk State brand as it relates to the football brand.
Yeah. Keith brings up a very interesting point. How long has Norfolk been in the MEAC? 1998, everybody. Norfolk did not even become Division I and go into the MEAC until 1998. I know that's also going to be a factor in how long, if they've played a member of the SWAC. Stephen Gaither brings up the point. Norfolk State has deep CIAA roots. And for the Norfolk people, it's probably more advantageous for them to play a Division II, play a CIAA team. I mean, play Virginia State, play Virginia Union. I mean, obviously, they got Virginia State coming up this week. That game is going to be a heck of a lot better of a draw for Norfolk than if they were to play, say, a Southern or a Jackson State. You guys want to comment on that?
I don't know. It is more advantageous, definitely, because of the CIAA ties that they do have. What I was thinking about as you were saying that, Drew, and I'll go back to just being in Norfolk just a week ago. There are so many other schools in the Virginia area that get the attention, that it really is a fight for Norfolk State to get some page one buzz. I think it is, and I always get a chuckle. I'm gonna jump over to basketball. I always get a chuckle when I see Coach Robert Jones make mention of the fact that his basketball program, I think, has either something like the most wins, best win percentage, or something in the 757 area code. And there are other more. Well, I don't say more, but there are other programs in that region who probably get more press than Norfolk State. So they're competing. Think about the HBCUs in the SWAC. How many different schools really are Southern, Jackson State, Florida, and how many other schools in their 2-hour radius are they competing with to get press? Whereas Norfolk State, I think, is competing with a lot of schools in that region to get press on the sports pages, if I'm making sense there.
I mean, they got an HBCU right there in their backyard. They also have to compete with who's it? Jeff Roberts says Hampton's going to get an invitation quicker than Norfolk State is to a classic if you want a school from the Rhodes area.
And I bet that is probably because of their alumni base. If I had to guess, just kind of thinking about some of the alumni base that it would be out. I hope I don't step on anyone's toes, but it's the equivalent of Florida A&M and Bethune-Cookman in the state of Florida. I mean, no shade to Bethune-Cookman, but which school has the more famous and prominent alumni? Okay, and Florida A&M. I would say that's probably the case between Hampton and Norfolk State. And of course, if anybody disagrees with me, feel free to put that in the chats. But if I had to use parallel, that's kind of what I think exists.
Yeah, I think you're definitely correct. Or you can even take it into SWAC country. If you're gonna pick one of the schools in Mississippi, which school are you gonna pick?
Jackson State.
Jackson State probably is gonna be your first round draft pick, coach. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, because Jackson State got you've got the Walter Payton, you got the legacy of those guys from the 60s and 70s. I mean, I would think Jackson State would get more attention off the rip than Alcorn, definitely more than Valley.
Yeah, definitely more. And we're gonna continue. We're gonna finish this off, and then when we come back on the other side of the break, we're actually going to get into the game because we're waiting on one other guest to join us here as we break down this game and the Hawaii-Delaware State game. Didn't Delaware State do better than a lot of people thought they were? Considering
they covered 40.
They covered. I forget the cover. I'm just glad they got there.
Hey, they actually tied that game up in the third quarter, didn't they? I think that game was tied at 14. I didn't stay up to watch it, but I'm just going off the box score. That game was tied up at 14 apiece. They actually controlled the clock on Hawaii. Now, Coach, you're more familiar with Hawaii. I don't know if that's a product of Hawaii's up-tempo style, but in terms of number of possessions, I think that the number of possessions weren't out of whack either. I think Delaware State had a good number of possessions. So my assumption is that Delaware State wanted to kind of control the clock as much as possible, and they accomplished that. And probably the biggest mistake was that punt return. But if they give up a punt return touchdown, but where they were putting that ball inside their own 5. So I mean, Hawaii was working with a short field, but what do you say on that, Coach? I know you're more familiar with Hawaii's offense.
Well, hold up, hold that thought, because we're gonna actually say that for when we actually get into breaking it down. I was just talking, but Bryan, I think the one thing that caught up with Delaware State more than anything else was the body clock.
Oh yeah. I saw the game. You should go back and watch that fourth quarter. Them poor boy, they was hurting come fourth quarter, because it was. Now, I know what you're saying, Drew. I don't want to talk too much, but it was 3 a.m. their time, fourth quarter.
Exactly. And I think the body clocks just finally caught up with them there. Hey, this is what we're going to do, everybody. We are going to get ready to head into our first break. Coming up on the other side of this break, we've got another member of the ONG Strike Zone. Yeah, we're going to be rattling heavy today because, damn it, we toughed it out. We earned it. And of course, we got the neutral party. We got our coach over here who's going to tell us how right or how wrong we are as we go and break this. Now, we're going to break this game down for what it was. Shout out to Kelvin Carter, who was up there in the press box with us on yesterday, as I see him here in the chat. Hey, you know something? Y'all could have been anywhere on a Sunday night. Y'all chose to be here with us right here on the BCSN SportsWrap.
Thank you.
Thank y'all for being here with us. Get those likes and share this with a friend while we get ready to go to this first break. You are watching the BCSN SportsWrap. Bryan is mobile today. Coach Farasi, home studio. This is AD. We see y'all in a few.
If you think all pads are exactly the same, think again. This is Always Ultra Thins reinvented with the Always Triple Protection System. This pad wicks gushes 90% faster, absorbs even more so you can feel dry, and locks odors in. Rethink your pad for up to 100% leak-free and odor-free comfort with the totally reinvented Always Ultra Thins. This is always like never before.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
Nope.
Come on, him.
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up message quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN SportsWrap. We talk about all things related to BCSN athletics, from games, teams, coaches, and fan stories. We cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN SportsWrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download.
We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
Little shot of the Marching 100 there at the SWAC Challenge in the parking lot before the game at the Coca-Cola tailgate. Joining us for this second segment is another member of the O&G Strike Zone, Mr. Kelvin Rosa. Kelvin, my brother, what's going on today? Kelvin, are you there? It looks like Kelvin may have frozen up on us. Can you hear us, Kelvin? Let me go ahead and let Kelvin drop off for a moment while he works on his connection. There he is. Looks like he's back now. Kelvin, can you hear us?
I can. Sorry about that.
That's all right. Hey,
can y'all hear me?
Everybody who was there, part of the BCSN crew, has had their set of adventures over the last 24 to 36 hours. That's all I'm gonna say, my brother. Glad you made it home safe also.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man.
All right. So let's get into this game, y'all. And it's amazing when we look back at this game. First of all, before I get into it, let's go first reaction. First, let's start off with the neutral party. Let's start off with Coach Farasi. Your first reaction when you were sitting there analyzing the game from at home yesterday.
Well, I figured it was going to be a good game if, like I said before when we did the segment yesterday, if they could blitz either quarterback to find out if they can run, because we know they can throw it. We know the kid from Norfolk State, he can throw the deep ball. He's not good underneath. He's not good with the short routes, but he can 1, 2, 3 and let it go 50, 60 yards downfield. We saw that yesterday. The kid from FAMU, we know that he can roll out left, right. He's good with the underneath. So if you see yesterday, he completed 20, 28 balls between 20, 28 yards. He threw a couple deep balls. They wasn't all that there, but he's a short guy. Now, he can grab the ball a little bit. A couple times, I was surprised he did take off a run, but, you know, when you got to, you got to. The other kid, he tried to take off a run, but FAMU's defense was just on him. So I figured if they could blitz and start the quarterbacks, it would be an outcome. We see first quarter what happened. We know Norfolk got a great big offensive line. I like big lines. They came out and smacked your D-line in the mouth that whole first quarter. That run, second, third play of the game, that guard knocked down a D lineman and a linebacker, and that running back took off to the house. The very next play, very next series, they were just pushing them down. We're getting 5, 7, 10 yards a pop. So I was thinking, wow, they were talking about, you know, FAMU had to go get some D linemen, but mid-second quarter going into the third, the D-line showed up and they started looking better. And as you see, the run game went away and they started to put some pressure on the quarterback, and he looked a little startled there. The quarterback from FAMU, I know I'm going both sides. The quarterback from FAMU, he looked good all game. I mean, I thought FAMU would run the ball a little better. The kid Dean was a comeback from last year, and they didn't start feeding him until like late third, fourth quarter. I'm thinking, wow, coach, I mean, he should have been getting the ball early in the game, but I'm not coaching over there. But they did what they needed to do. It was a good close game. I was impressed. For Norfolk State to be considered, next to last in their conference, and FAMU considered number one in their conference, considered like pretty much the number one team until they get beat next December. I mean, that was a good game there. I was really impressed with Norfolk State. Impressed with FAMU. I know they lost a lot. They got new coaches and everything like that. So I was impressed to be an HBCU graduate, impressed to see the game. But once again, my hat goes off to both offensive line. I thought they did great jobs. But the play that sticks in my mind was the second and third play of the game with that big tackle, that big guard pull. He knocked them two guys down, and that running back took off. I'm like, that's football right there. You can't beat it at its best. That's football right there.
Yeah. And let's go over some of these stats before I let the two guys from the ONG get in here on this. FAMU outpassed Norfolk State 286 to 142. but Norfolk pounded it on the ground, 227 to 117. Let me repeat that, 227 to 117. And what impresses me about that stat more than anything else, for the last 3 seasons, Norfolk has given up over an average of 203 yards per game on the ground. So to only give up 117 yards on the ground, pretty good job there by the Norfolk defense. There were no interceptions in the game. There was one fumble, as they like to say, and that was by Florida A&M University. One fumble loss. Penalties, FAMU 5 for 47. Norfolk 5 for 31. Norfolk did win the time of possession, 31-04 to 28-59. Third down, both teams were pretty good on third down. FAMU was 4 of 8. Norfolk was 6 of 11. But Norfolk was 0 for 1 on fourth down. Both teams went 3 of 4 when getting into the red zone. Some of the individual stats. Kelvin Dean led Florida A&M in rushing with 49 yards on 11 carries, while Kevion King had 14 carries for 146 yards. And we remember that big touchdown that you was talking about there on like the third play from scrimmage there, Coach, the big 82-yard touchdown run. Daniel Richardson was 22 of 30 on the day for 286 yards, 3 touchdowns. Jalen Daniels, the kid nobody knew, 7 of 9 for 142 yards, no touchdowns on the ground, but he did have 1 touchdown rushing. That was the second touchdown of the day for the Spartans. Receiving, Jamari Gassett was the leading receiver for Florida A&M, had 8 catches for 110 yards. 8 catches for 110 yards, followed by Kobe Goss, who had 3 catches for 45 yards. For the Spartans, Jaquez Jones had 5 catches for 78 yards, while Tamyron Thomas had 3 catches for 57 yards. On the defensive side, let's see, Andre Powell and Deco Wilson both had 8 tackles each for Florida A&M, with Kendall Bowler contributing 7. And let's see, AJ Richardson, the All-American linebacker for the Spartans, had 9 tackles, followed by Tariq Miles with 7 tackles. So I'm giving you the stats, Brian. Give me the reaction.
One stat, hold on real quick. One stat you didn't mention, I think it was only 1 sack in the game. That was late in the third. I think FAMU got to Norfolk State. That was only 1 sack, which means both lines was doing their job. So can't complain about the line. Shout out to the line.
Actually, there were 2 sacks in the game. They were both on the same drive. One occurred on first down. The second sack actually occurred on third down because Jalen Daniels did get stopped behind the line for like a 2-yard loss. Technically, that is considered a sack.
Okay.
Go ahead with your reaction to those stats that I just gave you, Brian.
Okay, a couple things come to mind, and I see some people in the chats saying Norfolk came to play. Isn't it? Look, and I may be guilty of this as well. Yes, Norfolk State came to play, and I think if we didn't think Norfolk State was going to come to play, we're probably being a prisoner of the moment from a year ago when we all thought South Carolina State was going to come to play, and they looked really bad last year. So they really did. It was shockingly how bad they looked last year. And so I think we kind of were lulled into a false sense of what both teams were going to look like, And so my instant reaction, some of the, those stats you just gave, Drew, indicative of a 24-23 ball game. It was an even ball game. It really was. I mean, I love the fact that penalties, only 5 penalties for each team. The rushing yards for Norfolk State, 82-yard runs, that is what it is. And so if you subtract that one big play, their rushing yards are probably a little more, they're not so dynamic. Yeah. like Coach said, the number of sacks were low, but I think what was fascinating about this game is that each team equally made big plays when they had to. The fact that Norfolk State jumped out on FAMU for, then FAMU came and answered with 17 straight points, and then we got a ball game. Big plays from the passing game. We had big plays, and then, of course, the big defensive stop at the end of the game, towards the end of the game on a 2-point conversion. So, I mean, this game had a lot of great drama. Those stats bring that home. And so I've got some other thoughts about Norfolk State, but I'll just kind of stop there and just say the stats are indicative of a close ball game, a great ball game, and definitely FAMU should feel good about getting a win. Dealing with some adversity for a new coach, new quarterback, new coordinators. So it was good to see how FAMU responded to that situation.
Yeah. Now, Kelvin, same question to you, but I want to throw something extra in for you to talk about, Kelvin. One of the things that you talked about, even going back to the springtime, was the attrition on our defensive line. It was concerned back during the springtime, during the spring game, that we really couldn't even have a spring game, a traditional spring game, because we didn't have enough defensive linemen in order to have a spring game. Well, he went out, we got some transfers, and, it showed that this is the first game where this line put together for a team that traditionally does not like to blitz. They had to do some things differently because the first quarter and a half, the FAMU defensive line got blown off the ball. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yes,
So, Kelvin, I add that in as you sit down and give me your reaction to the game.
I'm not going to overreact on that point, Drew. It was the first game, and it was the first game with an offense that we wasn't really sure what looks we were going to get. And Coach mentioned that was one of his concerns. They had some extra people up front. They came out really physical, but also their alignments. They kind of ran a slight unbalanced line, and they kept running to the same side, cutting back to the left. So they were going from strong to cutting back to the weak side, where they had some numbers based on how we were lining up. We also had our safeties, pretty deep. We were playing them as if they were going to pass the ball, and I think the reality is that we knew they were going to come out. The quarterback had limited time and reps with the team. He's only been there during the fall, so we should have committed to the box, I think, a little earlier, and try to take away that run. But at the end of the day, we made adjustments. And if you think about it, 3 of their plays equal like 200-some yards. They only had like 370. They had the 82-yard run, then they had the 240-yard pass receptions, pretty much. And that was their damage. Now, they did average, 4 or 5 yards a carry, I think. But I was kind of excuse me.
Go ahead, get yourself together.
Yeah, no, it was kind of skewed with those long runs, the big plays. And from the middle of the second quarter on, FAMU defense rose up, and we controlled the line of scrimmage the second half. I mean, you think about the fourth quarter. I mean, we went on the last drive we scored on. I think that was close to like 8 minutes, and then then the last 6 minutes of the game. I think we threw the ball twice on that drive. We were going to pound them.
Third down.
We got that big offensive line. That's
when we had to get them. Yes.
Yeah. So all in all, first game, Norfolk. I mean, we talked about it. They had 80 returning lettermen. Basically, they had 19 returning starters. and they came to play ball. And I have, you know, Oldham's getting coach, and they showed up, and they forced us to show our championship medal. And so I think, fam, you can take a lot from this game, actually.
Yeah. Now, Coach Farasi.
Yes, sir.
One thing that I noticed, that I didn't notice it when I was there, because I was working during the game, so I actually had a chance to go back and rewatch the game later on. One thing that I picked up on the film was, you know, normally everybody talks about the box, how many people are in the box, and kind of going back to Kelvin's point, Norfolk offensively had more people in the box than we did defensively, which allowed them to pound the ball at us. You know, they would have 8, sometimes 9 people in the box, and all we had was 4 linemen and 2 linebackers in the box. You know, for a long time we refused to roll that safety down. We refused to move that. I think they call it fang at FAMU, or the rover position, whatever you want to call it, the extra defensive back. We refused to move him into the box, which allowed them to get those runs. And then when we did bring them down, run blitzing or whatever, once they got through that first line, there was nobody there to catch them. Hence those 2, and that 82-yard run was not the only big run that they had. That would just happen to be for a touchdown, but there were a couple other big runs in that game. So, Coach, talk to me about that with that philosophy. Do you think that's just because that's that BCSN style and BCSN is going to run the ball? Or is that something that we really need to have a concern with at Florida A&M as we prepare for SWAC play? And also, while you talk about that, talk about Norfolk with that style of play, if that's how they're going to play as they get ready for the MEAC season this year.
I don't want to be rude to you, Drew, but I don't really know what kind of style of football they play in the MEAC. I've seen Florida A&M a couple times last year with Willie Simmons, but I'm thinking this. I'm Coach Oldham's. I just lost my quarterback for 4 weeks. I don't want to put pressure on this kid. He's coming from a JUCO. Yeah, he's a pretty good JUCO player, but it's not fair for him to ask him to go win the game. So what do we got to do? We got to take these big guys up here, these big fellas, these 350, 360s, and we got to run that ball. And we got good backs. So we got to take pressure off of him. I'm not caring how many you put in the box, because I know my guys are big, strong, fast, and they can block, and I got good backs. Sorry about my camera, you guys. Sorry, and I got good backs. They can hit the holes well. So I'm trying to take the pressure off this young man as much as possible. As far as your D-line goes, Kelvin hit it right. It was their first game together, first time out there under pressure. But like I say, after about the first quarter and a half, it seems to me that they got it together, and they started stopping that run. It went from 10, 12 yards a pop to 3, 4 yards a pop, and every so often you see a 6 or a 5. So I'd say more going into halftime, the D-line pulled it together. And after that, you didn't really see those big runs like you did in the first half, things of that sort. Now, as far as what you're going to see from FAMU, if I'm FAMU, what I saw yesterday, everything looked good except run the ball more. Run Dean. He's a good back. You got a big line. Don't expect Richardson to pull it off all the time. He did good yesterday. Obviously, his stats spoke well for him. But run the football. You know, Willie's not there no more. You do not have to put it in the air. I'm sorry, Coach Simmons, not trying to be disrespectful, but you ain't got to put it in the air like that. I know the kid's a good quarterback, but use that big line you got. You know, and I'm speaking for me because I like to run the ball. I could be biased, but I think Dean's a good back. You got another good back that Bryan was telling me yesterday is a redshirt freshman, redshirt sophomore. So use your run game to get you through this season. Your defense is gonna come along. You got speed, what you need on defense. You got talent in the backfield. In the secondary, so no one's just gonna deep bomb you. So the D line will come together. But offensively, I would say run that ball, FAMU. Use the short passing game, and you know it'll work out for you. I got no doubt you guys are gonna be successful. But if I'm sitting in there coaching meeting today, I'm saying, coach, just run the ball. Take the pressure off Richardson. Don't try to let him do everything. He's a good kid. Stay with the short passing game. Let's run Dean. Let's run this kid here. Let's use them big hogs we got, and let's run that football there. Norfolk State, over the next 3 weeks until they get their superstar back, that quarterback Coons, I think that's his name, right? Coons, until they get him back. You use that run game. That run game looked good. Learn from that first quarter and a half. Once again, I'm not scared of what front you put in me. You can put 5, 6, 7 in the box you want to. I'm going to run the ball. My guys know we're going to run the ball. Anything less than 4 or 5 yards a pop, there's a problem when you come to the sideline. They don't want a problem with Norman. So we're going to be executed. That's how I get down. So, and from what I saw in the first quarter and a half, that's what they was doing. So both sides of the ball, run the ball, use your passing game lightly. The quarterback, I think he went deep a couple times now. You see, when I talked about he's got a strong arm. He threw that thing 56 yards with like going like a flick, like, doo, so he can throw it. So you got to find 1-2 guys that can go get it. I saw yesterday he overthrew a wide open receiver. And we were talking about that earlier. I'm like, I've seen that before. And I'm always saying, how do you overthrow a wide open guy? Well, because this guy's got a cannon. So what they got to do, they got to come back to practice and they got to get on the same page. Timing, that's what we call it, timing. They got to get timing, 1, 2, 3, hit it now and everything like that. Because they do that, they'll be able to score 2 or 3 that way alone because he can throw the ball deep. That's not a problem. And they got a good running game. Once they put that together, I think Norfolk State, they're going. I told everybody, Odom is a good coach. Now, one thing I heard Bryan say, one thing I heard yesterday from the commentators is I think they said he's had 80 kids with him since he's been there year 4. Anytime you got that many kids that know your system, you're going to do something. You're going to do something. So I got no, this will be his year to show everybody who he is. Say something though. Southern, why y'all let him go? The man can coach. Just talking.
They didn't let him go. It was some stuff with the contracts. It wasn't like he actually got fired at Southern. There was just some stuff with the contracts, and they couldn't get all that stuff right. Now, Bryan, Coach Norman just talked about the offensive line, and I know you, Patrick Crary, basketball coach at FAMU, is friends with you. I'm gonna say this. I hope Patrick Crary got basketball players coming in with the height that our offensive line has right now. You know, I started offensive line. Our shortest person on our offensive line is 6'4", and we've got anywhere from 6'4" to 6'8", 6'9" on our offensive line. So I hope we see that when we go to the Lawson Center this season,
Hey,
Kelvin.
that's beautiful. That's beautiful, man.
Including the tight ends. You know, we definitely got some size. So Bryan, you've seen what we saw yesterday. We have Miami coming up next week.
South Carolina State.
What do you? No, I'm sorry, South Carolina State coming up next week. Then we have Miami. What are you looking to see improvement from week 1 to week 2 from the Rattlers, Bryan?
Well, everything. To be honest, everything needs improvement. I'll tell you what I and I haven't had a chance to go back and watch the film. I'm kind of going off recollection. I've been on the road, obviously, but I saw some play calling that. Like, I like seeing a quarterback roll out the pocket, and you know
that's because he's 5'10" and the line is 6. The line averages 6'6", Bryan. He got to get outside the pocket every now and then. Okay,
well, but still, you gotta. I like the fact that we moved him around and he was still able to find open guys. And yes, he did stand in there in the pocket, Drew. And he did a complete guy. So I'm not taking any of this. He's 5'10" and all this stuff. No, Mr. Make It Happen made it happen yesterday. Okay, and here's what I will say. When I think about areas of improvement, I mean, obviously, you know, it would be easy to target our defensive line, but I heard in a post-game press conference something which I think goes more of a credit to Dawson Odoms. And I think it's going to be a challenge for us this upcoming week. And it's the fact that not only Coach Cozy, but the players even said Norfolk State showed some things that, you know, it's hard to scout somebody in week 0, okay? Let's be real. It's hard to scout an opponent when, you know, you don't know too much about them. But FAMU did their best to scout what they scouted, and Dawson Odoms flipped the script. He came with some different stuff. And so credit to Dawson Odoms for kind of changing things up. And I don't know if that's a product of the new offensive play call or just, you know, kind of doing some self-scouting. But so what that means is this week you've got Shinnis Berry coming in South Carolina State. And I bet anything the inclination is going to be to go watch how Chinnisberry did things at Benedict. And so, I will not be surprised to see Chinnisberry change up some things in sort of a self-scouting and say, okay, these tendencies that I had at Benedict, let me change this up a little bit. Let me show FAMU some different things because they don't know this squad. So while FAMU is coming in with a game under their belt, they're also going to be facing a team that is getting their first game under their belt. So trying to, it's almost a similar situation that FAMU is going to have to take care of themselves. So the self-scouting for FAMU is going to be really important this week. And they're going to have to figure out what happened in those situations, especially at the start of the game on the defensive line. I thought the secondary did a good job, but I think there's improvements all around that can be happening. Like Kelvin said, first game of the season, not going to overreact to it much, but I think I'm going to give more credit in this game to Dawson Odoms for what he did to sort of throw FAMU off a little bit and show FAMU some looks that they hadn't seen and weren't quite necessarily prepared for. And so that was a big product, maybe, of that 14-0 start. And FAMU's, I heard one last thing. I heard Daniel Richardson talk about this in the post-game press conference, that he wants to see FAMU come out and start faster. That's something that we talked about all last year, right? About FAMU starting faster. It was refreshing to hear QB1 actually talk about that and say that's a big point of emphasis. So I really expect against South Carolina State to see FAMU come out and really look to start early and score or put some points on the board in their opening drive next week against South Carolina State.
Now, Kelvin, we've been talking about the players. We talked about brand new defensive line, all these transfers. But Kelvin, we also got a new coaching staff. And what I mean by a new coaching staff, Kelvin, although we have a lot of coaches who've returned from the championship season from last year, a lot of them are in new roles, including your head coach in a new role, your offensive line, your offensive coordinator who's assumed a new role from last season. You've had somebody who was on staff step up to be the defensive coordinator. You've got a new quarterbacks coach and offensive analyst and everything. So talk about the coaches and what you think they need to do themselves to make sure that they are together and prepared for the future, Kelvin.
Well, I'm gonna share what I share with Coach Cozy. I talked to him. Well, I texted him earlier this morning, and I told him congratulations on his first win of many, and to enjoy the moment because winning is hard. It's not easy, and I think people need to understand that. And you're going to have adversity. And I was proud to see how the team stood together, the coaches stood together. I wanted to know we had that championship pedigree, that medal that we had from last year. Anytime we got down last year, nobody blinked. There was nobody pointing fingers. The guys just kind of locked in, focused, and made adjustments. The other thing I would say that I saw from this staff was they can make adjustments, just like last year. Teams played close with us in the first half, and then come out of the halftime, we would dominate.
Yeah,
and I saw remnants of that with this particular game also. Where we had to make adjustments. We made those adjustments, and the game turned. And we pull out the W. So I think they're going to have to continue to learn their players. I saw some adjustments with personnel. I think you may see, like, linebacker. You may see some difference, at least one different starter there, potentially. I think, our secondary made a lot of tackles last night.
A few too many for me.
Yeah, I mean, they were the top three tacklers on the team was in your secondary. So one guy in the secondary specifically, he was in position, but 3 times, he got beat or he didn't make the play, and he just got to find the ball better and compete more when it's coming. But I just think they need to continue to believe in what they're teaching. You know, you kind of in a situation where you playing opponents for the first time with new coordinators, new coaches, new personnel. So being able to be flexible and to make adjustments on the fly is a good characteristic. And like I say, they got a great test in game 1. A team that was physical, a team that has played together, had a lot of continuity, and they were able to still get down by 14 and make that comeback. At some point, that talent that they have and the depth that they have, and if Richardson continued to not turn the ball over, you remember we were in a position to go up by 2 touchdowns when Dean
Right. We
fumbled
had to
going into
fumble.
the end
Yes.
zone. And that really changes the complexion of the game. If we complete that particular drive and go up by a couple of scores, then I think it's all but over at that point. But so from a coaching standpoint, just believe in what you're doing and continue to man respect and consistency. Stress the details. We only had 5 penalties that game and 1 turnover. That's gonna win a lot of ball games when you got talent.
Now you talking about the fumble was a big play, and it was a momentum swing there in the game where FAMU had the opportunity to take the momentum and pretty much would have sealed the game had they scored right there. There were 2 other plays for Norfolk that were big momentum plays, and they involved special teams. The first one being the botched snap on the field goal, which would have given Norfolk, I believe, would have been a 3-point lead at that point in time. But they had the momentum at that point in time, so that would have been that would have been crucial. Also, the second one being when FAMU, one of those 5 penalties that FAMU committed, the offsides on the blocked PAT. Now Norfolk gets the ball on the 1.5. Dawson Odom calls timeout, and you was up in the press box with us at that point in time. Everybody knows in the press box, you do not call a timeout in that situation to send your kicking unit back out.
Right.
24-23 is the score. The biggest play of the game at that point. If Norfolk gets that 2-point conversion, momentum. Now, FAMU did subsequently pretty much hold the ball for the rest of the game and ran the clock out. But, would it have been the same? Even though FAMU wound up in field goal range, would that pressure of being down 1 point have made a difference? And if you heard the post-game press conference, Coach Odom said he went for that 2-point conversion because of one thing.
Cramping.
His guys were gassed.
Yep.
And we know they train all season long. But I'm here to tell y'all something. Georgia heat is totally different from Virginia heat. Georgia humidity is totally different from Virginia humidity. Hell, we saw it in the first quarter. When we saw I don't even know if everybody saw the second one. We saw the one guy, obviously, right there on the 3-yard line when he lost his lunch. What a lot of people may not have seen was the fact that the running back, it was either King or Evans, I can't remember which one it was, that was coming off the field almost simultaneously, lost his lunch on the sideline also at the same time. So that was that heat. That was those nerves building up. Coach, I'm gonna give you this. I'm gonna give you an opportunity to talk about special teams before we wrap up this segment. The Norfolk special teams. Norfolk special teams, especially.
Norfolk special teams. I thought they looked okay. You know, I think they did a good job kicking the ball. They hustled down after they scored. After you guys scored,
But they dribbled the ball back to the kicker on the 35-yard field goal.
What was this? First my memory.
That was in the that was in the third quarter, everybody. If I remember that correctly, ended towards the latter part of the third quarter.
Or was it the second?
Second quarter, they did what? They kicked the ball out to the 35.
No. They dribbled.
No,
it was a field goal. The snap. It was a bad snap back to the holder. It was on the fourth down. It was about a 35-yard field goal. You don't remember that play?
No, I remember that one right there.
Yeah. And I think FAMU came down and scored off of that, if I do remember correctly. But
hey, Drew, let me jump in real quick. So their return game was an issue too. You remember the opening kickoff they had where the guy had the ball deep in the end zone and he decided to come
about 8 yard deep. Yeah.
And I was saying, not to cut together, but I said, kneel down. He brung it out. I said, oh, maybe he got something special. And then 5 yards later, he got popped. I was thinking, what was that about? Everyone knows that far deep in the end zone, you kneel. You know that from Little League, kneel it. But he brung it out. I remember that play specifically. I was like, wow, kneel down. He took it out. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and he did it again where he dropped I think he dropped the punt one time.
But he kept it, but he stayed in there.
But he thought about it coming out to get out. I was like, I know he's not going to try to come out now. But so I thought their kick return game was a little shaky.
Yeah. And thank everybody for correcting me. That was the second quarter with the field goal. It was after FAMU had scored. They think they had cut the game to 14-10, but Norfolk had the opportunity to take the momentum back with that botched field goal. That I believe that's what it was. But yeah, 80 degrees, humidity was low, but yeah. All right, coach, I'll put you in that situation. Do you make that same call as Dawson Odom's there, going for the two after the penalty?
2-point conversion?
Yes.
Okay, let me see. What's the score? 23-24. If I kick
23-24 midway through the fourth quarter.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. 23-24. If I kick it, we tie it up at 24-24. If I go for two, I'm up by one on you. Then I consider, once again, and we talked about this last year, first thing I think about is my defense. How's my defense doing? Well, Dean is doing a pretty good job on the ground. Quarterback, he's hit me with a couple runs and passes. So me, Farasi Norman, I'm going to kick and go tie it and keep it from there.
Despite the fact that a lot of your guys are gassed and cramping and everything like that, you're still going to play for the tie?
I'm going to play for the tie because, once again, when you're going for 2 points, either you don't. My field goal kicker is pretty good, so I touchdown. So now we're tied 4. Now, once again, I start going with the twos. I mean, we want to try to freshen this game up because the ones, like I said, they're cramping, they're hurting. I mean, you got to put some water in these guys. So, once again, like I said, I'm thinking about my defense and how we're playing. We're holding on. We're holding on. So I kicked the field goal myself. I really didn't understand the 2-point. Really, I'm sitting there in front of my 70 and I'm thinking, oh, come on, buddy, what you doing? What you doing? But you never know. Hey, he wants to win. He's, playing to win, everything like that. Me, I kicked the field goal and we take it from there.
Coach Drew, I have no problem going for the two at that point. I have no problem. I was that coach when I coached basketball. Look, if you got a good look at a 3 to win the game, even though we need a 2 to tie, I have no problem with it as long as it's a clean look. I have no problem with going for the 2. May have called a different play.
Yeah, but
I really have no problem with going for the 2 in that situation. Kelvin, Brian, quickly on that. Do you yes or no to the 2-point?
I would have. I had no problem with them going either because, like I say, we were more physical with the fresher team at that point. But I do agree with you. I would have called a different play. They were averaging 5 or 6 yards a carry going into the fourth quarter. So and running up the middle. So I don't, I wouldn't have tried. We're a speed defense. I wouldn't have tried to bounce it outside. I would have ran right at us.
Brian. Brian, you still there? All right, I guess Brian has lost his signal there. Yeah, he just jumped off. He lost his signal there. Last question before we go to break. Coach Farasi.
Yes, sir.
More respect for Norfolk after Saturday's game. Do you move in your respect poll? Do you move Norfolk up in your respect poll?
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. I thought they played hard. I like the way they ran the ball. I like the game plan that Dawson Oden put together. I like the fact that they were together on the sideline. Yeah, most definitely. Move them up. 3 slots. 3 slots. Not that I was thinking bad about them, because remember, I told everybody this year, I think Norfolk was going to be the team to beat because, I just thought the way Dawson was putting it together. And after what I saw yesterday with that running game, only thing they got to do is if they can, like I say, work on timing with a deep guy, with that quarterback, I think Norfolk State's going to be something to deal with when they get conference time.
What about FAMU? After yesterday's performance, do you still leave FAMU where they are, or do you move them slightly down because you have questions about Florida A&M right now?
No, I leave FAMU where they are. I think FAM's going to be okay. They got good coaches. They made, like Kelvin said, they made good adjustments. That D-line first quarter was getting punched in the mouth. We all saw it. Late second, third, they started to bob and weave and start throwing them haymakers back. So those are called adjustments in the coaching world. But no, I leave FAM where they are. They're going to be okay.
Same thing with you, Kev. When you move Norfolk up and down, we're not talking about on a poll or anything like that. Just on how you feel about Norfolk State. Do you move them up or you move them down or leave them where they're at?
We had a question that we asked yesterday as to whether Norfolk and FAMU could meet again in the SWAC MEAC
that sounds like Bowl. That sounds like you moving Norfolk up if you ask that question.
So that's exactly where I'm going. After watching them play, all they got to win is what, 5 games in the MEAC. So yeah, I'm moving them up. They can play. They solid.
What about FAMU? You moving them up, down, leaving them where they at?
They fine. I'm leaving them right where they at. Absolutely.
All right, Brian, I don't know if you hear us. I'm going to ask you 2 questions. Number one, the first question I asked, do you go for 2 in that situation if you're coaching? And both Kelvin and Coach Farasi said no, he does not go for 2. He goes for the tie. Kelvin and I said yes, we go for the 2, but we go with a different play call. What do you say?
I can you hear me, guys? First off,
yes.
Okay, I agree with both of you, Drew and Roger. I would have gone with a different play call. When you got moved up to did the ball move to the 1 yard line or the 1.5 mark?
1.5.
It's 1.5.
All right. Yeah, that was the time to go with the different play call. And that's when and that's what's always amazing about coaches, football coaches, Coach Farasi. Y'all are an interesting bunch. I love the coaches who keep it simple. Keep it, that should have been a halfback dive or a quarterback sneak right up the center of the gut, or maybe off to in the B slot.
A lead or something.
Yeah, not taking the ball out to the side outside of the tackle. I didn't understand that. We hadn't seen their quarterback run or scramble. I mean, the kid's 6'5", so it's a little bit different than a 5'10" quarterback with quicker steps. Like 6'5" trying to get to the outside, man, that's long strides. And I don't know whether it was a busted play or not. So maybe it was, but if that was the design play coming out of a timeout, I'm looking at Norfolk State like, huh? Why? Why was that the call? So I understood why he went for it because, look, Norfolk State has lost. We talked about it as one of those pregame stories about the number of games they've lost within a touchdown. And yes, I know the cramping seems to have been a concern, but I also think Coach Odoms, when they had an opportunity, he saw a window to say, you know what, we could change the momentum of our season. We could change the mindset of our players if we can execute this. I just thought the play call was bad, just a bad play call. So, yeah, that's my thought on that.
Last question before we go to break, Brian. just on your respect poll. You know, no numbers or rankings, anything there. Just as far as your respect meter, you move Norfolk up, you move them down, or you leave them where they are.
I move them up. I think I feel less concerned about their ability to beat Virginia State in 2 weeks. How about that?
Same thing with FAMU. Move them up, move them down, leave them where they're at.
Leave them right where they're at. They got a big game coming up this weekend. I don't think I don't think there's need for everybody to overreact. You know, I know there's going to be people that want to overreact to this, and shame on anybody out there who wants to move a team in the polls or whoever poll. I mean, come on, there were three HBCU schools that played yesterday. Nobody should be moving anybody in their polls because all three teams played respectable games. Nobody got whooped or beat to sleep. So there should be no major movements in anybody's poll this week going into week 1 where the first games are on Thursday.
Right. Kelvin says he think Norfolk has a good chance to get back. Farasi, does Norfolk have a chance to get back?
Get back to the SWAC MEAC challenge. SWAC MEAC.
To the Celebration Bowl. Get back to Atlanta Celebration Bowl.
They do what I said 3 times a day. Work on that timing with that deep route. Everything else, leave everything else the same. Just get that timing with the deep route. Find you 1 or 2 guys and get that deep ball for that quarterback. Yeah, I can see them playing FAMU again.
Okay, Kelvin already says he thinks Norfolk has more than a fair chance of getting back. Brian, do you?
Well, it's funny.
They only got 5 games.
Hey, look, it's funny when Kelvin brought that up because if I recall correctly, Kelvin, correct me if I'm wrong, I did say the odds were maybe 5% or maybe less, but which in that case they were long odds, Drew. And you know me, if I had some pizza money, I would have put some pizza money because the odds would have been 50, 100 to 1 on these 2 teams appearing again, right? And so I feel very comfortable in giving up a pizza on this particular matchup happening again, especially if it were to pay 50 or 100 to 1.
Right. And for those who are wondering, will FAMU be back? I've got an interesting stat for you. In the Celebration Bowl era, do you know there's only 1 SWAC program that has not gone to at least 2 consecutive Celebration Bowls? Who's appeared in the Celebration Bowl?
And that's
Did y'all know
right?
that? No, incorrect. That would be Alcorn. Alcorn went to the first Celebration Bowl as a representative. Then Grambling went to the next 2. Then Alcorn came back and went to 2 in a row. And every time, whoever make when you make it to the Celebration Bowl out of the SWAC, you're guaranteed you're guaranteed a 2-year run. FAMU.
That's a hell of a trend, Drew. How many years? I'm not even going. Okay, that's a great trend.
It's a small sample size.
Small sample size. I like it though. I like it.
But it is held up.
It's facts. Yeah, I'm saying it's facts.
Yeah. Everybody has gone back at least 2 years in a row. So according to, if history repeats itself, FAMU will be in Atlanta in December. With that,
all right.
We're gonna go at a break. You gonna stick around for us for this Delaware State game, Kelvin, or you gonna get out of here?
I'm gonna get out of here, man. I still got some stuff to do.
All right, go ahead and give a party shout out to anything else before we go to this break.
Well, no, man. I just want to. It was a great weekend, man. Great event. Rattlers, the attendance was really good. Rattlers were in the house, and it was great to see all the guys and all the media and all the Rattlers. And I'm looking forward to. And I'm looking forward to Saturday, South Carolina State game, man. I'm enthusiastic about that game, and playing in front of the home crowd in Bragg.
All right, and with that, we bid Kelvin a great farewell. Get yourself some rest, my brother. Get your household together. This not Wednesday. I can't say things up to you, man. I can't tell you to strike and strike again. That would be inappropriate on this podcast, man. But you know what it is, my brother.
Absolutely.
All right, y'all. Y'all listen to watch the BCSN SportsWrap. You could have been anywhere else, but you're here with us on a Sunday night. We appreciate you. We'll be back in just a moment.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Supermarket sushi, really?
No. Wait, Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working, huh?
Oh, Troy, you're such a good teacher.
Yeah, I know. Never not working. Never not working. Never ever not working.
Are you serious?
Never not working. Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
Hey, grab me one too.
Charmin Ultra Soft has so much cushiony softness, it's hard for your family to remember. They can use less.
Sweet pillows of softness.
This is soft. Holy Charmin. Oh, excuse me. Roll it back, everybody. Sorry.
Charmin Ultra Soft is so cushiony soft, you'll want more. But it's so absorbent, you can use less. So it's always worth it.
Now, what did we learn about using less?
You gotta roll it back, everybody.
We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
That video right there is courtesy of Charles Bishop of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab and the Black College Sports Network. That first video that I showed you guys earlier was courtesy of Kelvin Carter of the Black College Sports Network. So we've dissected Florida A&M and Norfolk State. There was another football game that occurred on yesterday. Most of you guys were asleep. Some of us were on the road while that game was playing. And some of us, like Coach Farasi, decided to wait till this morning to get up and watch that particular game. That being the Hawaii at Delaware State. Delaware State, all kinds of issues and opportunities getting out there to play that game and played a decent first half into the third quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And then tick, 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 tick. That body clock caught up with them. It wasn't like they was at the club and they just found that extra ounce of energy and everything. That the body clock caught up with them, and Hawaii was able to pull away from the mid third quarter on. Coach Farasi, you watched that game. First of all, you saw the pregame where Delaware State coach talked about their travel adversity getting to Hawaii. Before we even get into the game, get into that part of it and keep it cleaner than it was when you and I talked about it earlier today.
Oh, you threw me out there like, First of all, let me say, shout out to Aloha, the 808. That means Hawaii. This is a shocker. It means it's all good in Hawaii. So when you guys see me do that, I'm not an alpha. Nothing against the alpha, good fraternity, but this means all good in Hawaii. When you're over there long enough, it just becomes second nature to you. So talk about what happened. I think I don't know the coach, but I'm going to say the coach is ready to go. You're on your way to paradise. That's what we call Hawaii, paradise. You're taking 75 players. You're taking 25 staff members. You're the head coach. You're in charge of everybody, okay? You're up that morning. You're feeling good. You're like, wow, I'm about to go to Hawaii. You're going to spend 5-6 days in Hawaii. Who don't want to be in Hawaii? I was there from 2019 to 2023. Everybody wants to be in Hawaii. It's beautiful there. Anyway, let's get back. You're there. Your players are there. You're packed up. You're ready to go. You make sure you got your jocks, you got your straps, you got your socks, you got your cleats, you got your helmet. So, coach, you got this. You got your skillboard. You got your clipboard. You got the screen. Like, coach, we got everything. Coach, calm down. Okay, boom. So we're ready. What's not there?
What a bus.
And we ain't talking about Jerome Bettis. The bus didn't show up on time. That right there hits the that right hits the balloon and the air starts to deflate. Then he shows up when he wants to, like, oh, well, I'm supposed to pick you guys up 2 hours ago. My fault. What can you do but get on? Then you get to the airport and you run through the airport like, oh, hey, Delaware State, we got a flight to. Oh, sorry, sir. You guys missed that one. Huh? Yeah, so you got to get new flights. And those flights ain't $150, huh? Drew, did you do some homework? Did you see what they charge? Off the top of my head, I know going to Hawaii right now, you're looking at $3,500 just to get there right now. And now you're taking 75 players and 25 staff members. So now this plane's got room. This plane's got room. So your team is broke up. Coach, I need you to go with these 8. Coach, I need you to go with these 20. Coach, I need you to go with them 25. You staff members, you come over here. So now you're playing band director. You're moving your hands everywhere like this. So now you get there. Well, hold on. You don't get there on time. You get there late. They had a nice showing for you. Luau, when you come to Hawaii, we set it off for you. You get your legs, you get your luau. Everybody seen the little fire sticks and the drenching and the dress. That's real life. That's real. Okay? Only 8 members of that football team was able to experience that. They didn't show up. The rest of the team didn't show up till, remind you, we was supposed to leave Tuesday at 5. The entire team didn't show up till Thursday at 10 at night. That balloon, it was out here. Now it's right here. It's getting smaller and smaller. Then you get up Friday and you get your little walkthrough. Because now you want to make sure everybody, hey, are you here? Are you okay? Okay. Hey, how was your flight? Coach, man, hey, buddy, we're here. Can't do nothing about that now. In Hawaii, they don't play till late night. Well, it's average time for us over there. We're 5 hours. Well, where I'm at now, we're 5 hours behind. There, it's 7 hours behind. So you try to keep your boys up. You're pumping them up, your momentum. Hey, we're in Hawaii. We get to play a game. We can make history. We can beat a Division 1A. Everything like so. You're trying to get them up. Boom, you come out the gate. They look fired up. They've got a simple, basic offense. They run screens. They run quick sets, a lot of quick slants, comebacks, and they run inside, outside zones, and they run a quarterback draw. Quarterback's a pretty good athlete. He was the first one to score for him. He shook the linebacker in the middle of the field and run the field for 10 yards. Hawaii, I heard somebody ask, I think that was you, Drew, asked me earlier about Hawaii's offense, and it might have been Bryan. They run a run and shoot. Their quarterback, Timmy Chan, he's born and raised on the island, went to St. Louis. It's a well-known high school. He was like what Tua is now. He was that to Hawaii in the state of Hawaii when he was in high school. He was a good quarterback. He threw it, okay? I think he played in the NFL for like 1 or 2 years. He wasn't there long. So anyway, he's the head coach there now. He came from a run and shoot offense. He knows it like the back of his hand. That's what he wants to do. So he's implemented the offense that he knows. So last year they were 5-8. They were in some games, but they finished up 5-8. So now first game they got Delaware. The run and shoot offense is designed to quick release, quick play action, not play action, but quick plays, get to the end zone. It's not a what I like to do, a steady game, grind the clock, rinse the clock out, move the chain. It doesn't do that. It's 1-2 touchdown, 1-2 touchdown. And they did that a couple times to Delaware State. The quarterback they got a big kid, Caucasian kid. He's a big kid. He's like a Ben Roethlisberger, but he probably moves a little better. He has some good runs on Delaware State. I mean, when he ran over a couple guys, might have been some safeties or linebackers. He ran them over. I mean, it's plain to say he ran them over. Like, whoa. And that's embarrassing when you get ran over by a quarterback. But what can you do? This kid is 6'5", 230, 240. I mean, he's a big kid. Okay, he ain't little. Okay. They got 2 or 3 receivers that can go get it. Because one time they threw the ball, and I mean, dude was by himself. I'm like, DB, what are you? And first thing you know, dude, you play DB. Why are you looking in the backfield? Why are you looking at your quarterback? Because when you do that, this guy runs right by you. So then you turn, he's in the end zone, touchdown. Me, myself, have a seat. You're done. Because that right there was just embarrassing. You learn that way before you even get to me. That's high school stuff. You don't take your eyes off the the receiver, looking in the backfield. So he got caught twice like that. Hawaii doesn't really have a run game. Their run game is very basic, simple. It's I like to call it dive right, dive left. They're not doing zones. They're not moving step like that. It's just they got big boys. Their offensive line isn't very big, though. Their starting center is 5'11", 260. Now, he's physical. But he's 5'11", 260. That's their starting center. So they're just trying to punch you in the mouth and just get a little room and let the little running back, and once again, they're fine with the 3-4 yards cloud of death because that's not what they do. They're not a running team. They're not a run. They don't want to run the ball. They run it just to try to, here running back, so ain't no complaints on the sideline. They want to throw it. They did that last night. I was impressed with Delaware State, though. They stayed with him. The quarterback scored the first touchdown. Then I think he threw the second one. He's a pretty good – they got a number one. I think he's a running back. He's got wheels to him. Like Coach was giving a early pregame commentator was saying this kid's got 4.3 speed. Not very big, but you can tell he's an athlete. He can run. He can catch. He's pretty good for them. I remember he wore jersey number 1 because I wore jersey number 1. So he was pretty good for them. Quarterback's pretty good athlete. Their offensive line is not very big. They're 260, 285. They're just not very big up front, and they weren't very physical. But I give them credit though. They to go through all the fiascos you had to go through, to getting broke up, to getting broke here, and that's not a straight shot from Delaware to Hawaii. You're stopping, get back on the plane, then you're going to California. You're gonna land in California, no matter where you go.
I just looked it up. 14 hours.
Then you're gonna land in California. Then you're going over there to the island of Oahu. Now you always hear about Manoa. Manoa is the city. The island is Oahu, but the city, you got Honolulu. 45 minutes from Honolulu is Manoa. That's where the university is called University of Hawaii at Manoa. That's where the university is at. So you get there. So throughout the trials and tribulations, they went for the week. They played good for about 3.5 quarters, and then I remember, matter of fact, it was 14-7 at half. Not bad.
Right. Then it was tied at 14 early in the third.
Yeah, because then the little running back, I'm talking about the number 1 kid, he had a little 6-yard run to the house. So now it's 14-14, third quarter. So you're like, okay, cool. And then that's when Hawaii came back, and I tell you, they hit the guy with the deep bomb. And after that, you saw them, brother. You saw the body just slow down. You saw them just slow. It's kind of like being in a boxing match, and your arms you can't lift your arms anymore because they're just heavy. And that's what I saw from them, brother. That third, fourth quarter, that time clock. Because once again, if they're back where they're at, they're sleeping, but they're playing football at 3:00 in the morning, their time. And I think that's what got them. I think that's what got them. Other than that, but I got no problem with Delaware State. I thought they played as hard as they could play. Shout out to them for what they had to go through. I just hope that they'll get better. Time goes on. They got to get bigger in the trenches. I don't know how you're going to do that now. They're just not very big. They got to figure it out. They got an athletic quarterback, and they're number 1. They're the 2 best kids on their offense. But offensively, they're not very big. Defensively, hey, they got some work to do. But I just say, man, for what you had to go through just to get to that game, I take my hat off to them, really, because I think we talked about this earlier, Drew. I go to my AD and say, Can we sue this bus company? Because it started with the bus company. You gonna show up on me 2 hours late? That's where it started right there. You gonna show up on me 2 hours late? Oh, we forgot to say, Drew, you're supposed to be my backup. Did I mention that the bus driver, took the wrong turn to the airport? God dang it. Huh? He took the wrong JFK. I don't even know where JFK at. I don't know. I'm not an East Coast guy.
New York.
He took the wrong turn to the airport. Not only did you show up on me 2 hours late, but you took the wrong turn. Me being Farasi. Now, hold on, Drew. ADs, presidents, no one who's, everybody know I'm looking for a job. Don't disqualify me. But once I say, Drew, Bryan, take the team over there. I think I put hands on the driver. and then I go, hey, what, coach? Mine up. Come on, fellas, we got to go. Yeah, because, wow, you missed the turn to JFK. Really?
I'm gonna pull out that old Bugs Bunny. I knew I should have made that left turn at Albuquerque.
Yeah. God. Now, I don't know much about East. Maybe you guys can help me out, but is it hard to miss the turn to JFK? And once again, the driver's he's probably a homegrown guy. He ain't me. He ain't
that is about an hour and a half to 2 hour drive from Dover, Delaware to New York City. So maybe the driver was unfamiliar. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt that he's unfamiliar with New York City. And if you've never driven in New York, driving in New York, y'all talk about Atlanta, y'all talk about Houston, y'all talk about Chicago. New York is totally different. I've driven to New York. New York is a class all by itself. Bryan.
Hey, but let me ask this, Drew, Coach. You guys are talking like it was just one bus. Don't tell me. You just said 75.
At least 3
Thank
buses.
you. That's what I'm saying. So you had a group of buses, like minimum probably 3 buses of personnel going in one direction, supposedly. Talk about a logistical nightmare. Good God.
You know what this reminds me of, and I almost hate to bring this one up. Was it 2 years ago, the fiasco at Prairie View with the flights? When Prairie View got to the airport and there were no flights?
You mean that event which rarely gets talked about? Yeah, exactly.
Mr. Jackson says there were 4 buses that were late.
Wow, 4 buses. Wow.
Hey, let me ask you this, Drew. You're in administration. Can you sue the bus company?
I mean, that don't do you no good when you got to get them to the airport or wherever they need to go. Yeah, ultimately, you can go after and try to recoup some type of money or compensation or credits down the line. That's number one for the bus company. That's just good business, because if you ever want to contract with me again, you're going to make this right one way or the other. If you ever want to contract with me
again. I don't want people to think, well, hold on, I'm not to cut you off, brother. I want people to think, well, why is Coach trying to sue him? Because also another thing I forgot to mention, they had to max out not 1, not 2, but 3 credit cards.
Yeah,
max out
to get the replacement flights. Because I'm pretty. Hold up, let's back up. I don't even know if an event like this, if flight insurance would have even helped you out on something like this.
Thank you. I was gonna Drew, you got to talk about the. I mean, think about a flight. I don't know how many. I mean, they're probably on a large plane, right? What was it? What's the largest plane that you have going from New York going west? Maybe a 747.
I was gonna say a 747.
So you just said we got a staff of about 100. I mean, probably if not half, at least maybe 2/3 of the plane is consisting of the Delaware State Party, and they're not showing up. And I mean, at what point did the airline kind of jump in this and say, "Hey, we don't see your party here. Are they coming? What happened?" And once you realize,
well, you've been all of us have flown. When do they start calling people's name? They don't start calling your name till about 15, 20 minutes before check-in. Like, Bryan Brian Fulford, if you're in the airport, please check in at gate A, B, and C. So
did they just start going down the roster? Did they start going down the roster?
That's not the airline's job to do that, though. That's a courtesy. And EA brings up a good point. Hold on. EA just brought up something. My bet is DSU probably hadn't paid this vendor some invoices in the past.
See, here we go.
And total conspiracy theories, but I have had this happen. There's some unpaid balance, an unpaid invoice, especially when I've been in a new administrator and I've gone to have services with a vendor. You do know that y'all hadn't paid this invoice from 2 years ago or whatever the case is. So maybe
that's when you find another vendor. You got to find another vendor.
Maybe, but I'm saying, obviously you need to find another vendor, but you also need to make that good though. And maybe the ball got dropped there, or maybe it once again. This is real life. I'm not saying this is what happened in Delaware. These are situations that I have had to deal with. I've had some vendors who say they are not moving that service, that product, or whatever it is until not that they receive a purchase order. Some vendors have to actually have that check or that deposit before they're going to move. You know, I've been waiting on accounts payable to pick up a check so that I can do it. And I had this situation last year where I was working at. I had to wait on accounts payable to actually cut a paper check. How many people still cut paper checks? But I had to get a paper check. In this instance, our team was traveling on Friday at 4:00 Thursday. I am waiting on a paper check to get a paper check to drive 45 minutes to the office of the bus company that we were using, because those buses were not moving on Friday to take our team out of town until I had delivered that check. I have had that happen to me.
I just not to cut you off, Drew. I've never had that situation. I've been in a situation before where I was at a college and we're coming off the field, and I say, "Hey, coach, what time we got to get together in the morning so we can catch the bus?"
What bus?
Oh, shucks, Norman. Go up there and order us a bus. Hey, once again, this goes back to what I was talking about last week when we were talking about wearing that hat called head coach, rolling into. Oh, Norman, can you go upstairs and order us a bus? I'm a running back special teams guy. No problem, coach. You run upstairs, you get your bus, and you got a card, and you get your card and everything like that, and then you got to walk around campus, tell everybody, Drew, 5 o'clock be in front of the gym. Brian, 5 o'clock be, okay, coach, because I just had to order a bus.
Yeah,
I've been in that situation there. But once again, man, I feel when I heard that story this morning, I feel bad for those young brothers from Delaware State because they didn't deserve that. No one did. Let me just say that. No coaches, players, staff, no one deserved that, man, because that's not that's going on that bus company. And that's not good business. That's not good business. They maxed out 3 credit cards. What's the limit on a credit card? 25, 30,000 for a university might be what, 50?
I mean, it all depends on the school and everything else.
They maxed out 3 credit cards trying to get back and forth because they decided to be late and just missed the left to the JFK. Come on, man.
Right. I am the watcher. Just because it is a brand new school year does not mean it's a brand new fiscal year for the institution. When I was in the state of Alabama, our fiscal year actually ran with the state government, which was October 1 to September 30. So you start football in the 4th quarter of a fiscal year in the state of Alabama. Alabama State deals with this currently. Alabama A&M deals with this currently. A lot of institutions try to have their fiscal year is usually a July 1 through June 30th. Some places actually run on a calendar cycle. So just because the school calendar is new does not mean the fiscal calendar coincides with the school calendar. And that's one of those things where administration has to be smart and has to do things knowing where these things come. Because we all know whenever your fiscal calendar is for whatever company you work for, whatever institution. We all know what happens in the fourth quarter, right? You ain't spending nothing in the fourth quarter. You cut. You trying to make budget. Or you waiting on that new pot of money to come in at the start of your fiscal cycle. So you have to deal with it. Just like at the end of the month. Hopefully you got money so you can get them last couple purchases at the end of the month. Or usually not. Usually we need to hold that. We can't pay that to the first because we got to make sure we got this money coming in. I work for city government. I work for county government. I work for universities. That's just the lay of the land there. Bryan, question I wanted to ask you. What do you think affected the two football games more? The heat in Georgia affected the MEAC SWAC challenge, or the time difference affected the Delaware State Hawaii game? Which one do you think affected that game more of those two factors?
Drew, I'm glad you asked that, because I respect the argument that you and some others were making about the difference in heat from Virginia to Georgia, but it wasn't that hot in Georgia last night. Matter of fact, it was, and this is according to Georgians, this past week in Georgia has actually been one of the mildest weeks in Georgia for August, this time of year. You know what I'm saying? Like, if anybody who was at the game or in Georgia, those of you who like to get out in the morning and go walk or run, it was kind of cool. You had to put on a jacket. So and look, I'm not a meteorologist. I didn't stay at a Holiday Inn, so I don't know. I don't know what the dew point and the humidity was, but yes, guys were cramping, but that could be a product of bad hydration. Guys were throwing up. That could have been a product of what they ate. So I don't know. So I would tend to answer your question, I'll go with the body clock being more of an effect. And then, and I was going to, before I heard what Coach said, because I didn't know all the details, I just knew they were late. And I knew they were going from Delaware to New York to catch their flight. I didn't know the particulars the way he said it, because I was listening to the MEAC press conference, which I guess was recorded on Monday, and I heard Delaware State's coach talk about their plans. Like, they were going to leave on they were going to leave and they were going to get there and they were going to experience Hawaii, go to Pearl Harbor and do all these educational things because they were going to be there for 5 days, right? And so I would imagine that if you get there on a Tuesday, you can start to get guys' body adjusted to the time difference. I don't know if it works that way, but that's what I would imagine, because I know it might be kind of hard to do that on the East Coast, because I mean, that way you're asking guys to what? Hey guys, stay up at midnight. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You're asking guys to do that. So it's probably easier when you get over there. But the fact that, as Coach stated, you got guys who didn't show up until Thursday. I mean, damn. So I'm going with body clock, Drew. I'm going with body clock over the exhaustion of Norfolk State players. And due to Georgia heat.
Hydration.
Yeah, okay. Hydration, Georgia heat, whatever. Let's just say poorly hydrated Norfolk State players.
Let me say something real quickly, Drew, please. What I do as a coach, you guys, when we go to eat, and after we wash our hands, I tell everybody, grab the salt shaker, okay? Put 4 or 5 crumbs in your hand, put it on your tongue, swallow it. Put 4 or 5 crumbs on your hand, swallow it. Salt thins your blood. That prevents dehydration, prevents cramps. Then also make sure we're giving them bananas in the locker room. I make sure we're putting plenty of water in them. Now that can prevent what happened. It's football, it happens, but that's what I do. I've never been in that situation because I've always taken those precautions. I learned that from a coach of mine when I was in high school. That goes back into, once again, me wearing that hat, wanting to roll over to wearing that hat that said HFC, head football coach. But that's what I do to prevent that kind of stuff there. Put the potassium in them, put that salt in them, that can prevent that. But yeah, no doubt about it, brother. That time change. You watched that game. That was a pretty good game till late third, fourth quarter. Then I'm telling you, they were just like, you could just see them. They weren't moving the same. They was reacting slowly, and you could just say, it's supposed to be sleeping right now, but we're playing a football game.
Kind of like that drive that I had to get back to home at 3-4 o'clock in the morning.
When you told me what you did, brother, I'm so glad. I pray to God, like, man, thanks for letting my friend get home. That was a heck of a drive, brother.
Last question before we go to break. We've seen teams who were predicted 5 and 6 in the BCSN this weekend, despite losses, have good performances. Do teams 1 through 4 in the MEAC need to be concerned about teams 5 and 6? Bryan?
That's a tough one because you know why that's so hard to answer.
Because we haven't seen everybody else.
Well, no, it's not even that. It's because the MEAC schedule is the last third of your season. I mean,
hold that right there. Hold that right there. Throw this caveat in there though. Norfolk State gets to get one of those MEAC games out the way early when they play Central State in the Circle City Classic.
North Carolina Central.
What did I say?
Don't worry about it. Yeah, I know what you meant.
Okay, North Carolina Central. Okay, yeah, but they get their game out the way in September, while the other 4 teams in the BCSN have to play the last 5 weeks. They actually get a bye week going in there. So, but going back to the question, do teams 1 through 4 in the BCSN, should they be concerned about teams 5 and 6, or do you think the natural predicted order will play out as it was? We'll just see better competition from 1 through 6 in the BCSN.
The predicted order finish will not hold. It's not going to hold. Somebody's going to surprise. Somebody's going to disappoint. I think there are too many unknowns. I mean, to be honest, and it's not. Look across that whole spectrum of MEAC teams. There's so many unknowns. There's no star returning quarterback. And I think that matters. I think it matters. You know, I think people might be undervaluing Howard. That would be the team, to me, that you might have to be most concerned with because of what they're returning solid players in every position, I think, maybe with the exception of quarterback.
And they've got the offensive and defensive player of the year.
Exactly. You know, so that's what I'm saying. And so that would be the team that I would look forward to seeing what they do. But again, so much of the MEAC and so much of what the MEAC teams, who are they in the non-conference? That's what's fascinating about these teams, to see, can they have some success in the non-conference? If they can have success in the non-conference schedule and not puke on themselves or fumble the bag, so to speak, it could be a real interesting race late in November.
Coach, you think the top 4 teams in the BCSN need to worry about predicted 5 and 6 in the BCSN after what we saw this weekend?
If it's 2 variables to Norfolk State. Don't forget, they got their starting quarterback comes back in 3 weeks. Okay. If this quarterback they got now, if he doesn't play better, he didn't play bad yesterday, but if he doesn't play better, then we're gonna go back to QB1. It's his job. He's a senior. He deserves it.
What does the record have to be for him to stay in? Do you keep him at 2-2?
You got to give me a split. You got to give me a split.
You can't go 4-0 obviously because you lost. But does 3-1 earn him the job?
Oh yeah, most definitely. But 3-1 earns him the job. Or you got to give me a split.
What about 1 and 3?
No. 1 and 3 says, hey, thank you for filling in. Come on, cool. Let's get back to work. So, okay. But hold on. This is what I'm trying to say. In the next week, if they can find 1 or 2 guys and go get that deep ball, because the kid can throw the deep ball well. That's it. That's what he does. He can throw the deep ball. They find 1 or 2 guys and go get that deep ball to go with that running game. I'm one of the top 4. Yeah, you got to scratch your head when you get ready to play them because they're coming to play. If they can't find that person to go get the deep ball, and this kid goes 0-4 or 1-3, then you got to worry about Coons coming back. And we all, hoping I'm saying the name right. Hope I'm not getting racist, Coons. But we know this kid's an athlete, so we know that.
It's with a plural. It's TZ.
Coons?
Yeah, Coons. Otto Coons.
Okay. So there's 2 variables of that. If he can get some wins and they can develop that deep passing game with that running game, yeah, you got to scratch your head because they come. They coming to play, but they're gonna come play. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna be serious business about getting some dubs. If he goes 0 or 1, then Kuntz come back. Then you got to worry about Kuntz and his run game. There's no passing game. So now you 7-8 man front that box, and you can slow that down. I don't know if you're gonna just stop it, but you'll be able to slow it down. They can run the ball no matter what you put in front of them.
What would Delaware State make any noise based on what you saw Saturday? Would they be able to make any noise?
No, but don't sleep on them. You know, remember what I used to do when we was in high school? We used to get our schedule, and we knew 3 teams were just horrible. We go ahead and put W's by them. You can't do that to them. You can't do because if you do, you're gonna look up in the 4th quarter. You're gonna be like 17-20, but we're at 17 and they're at 20. Whoa! So you can't sleep on Delaware State. They're number 1 and that quarterback. They make it. They're a difference maker. They're a difference maker. So no, you're gonna have to play them. You got to show up and play them. After what I saw them yesterday, that 3rd, 4th, delete that because that body clock hit them. Them first 2.5 quarters, they was out there playing some football.
Bryan, want to get anything in before we go to break?
Yeah. Who does Delaware State play this upcoming weekend?
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said. Go ahead, ask your question. But I'm glad you gave me my lead in to the next segment, Bryan.
True. Coach, what are the challenges for Delaware State coming back to their, to the East Coast? Like, we talk about the body clock of how it affected them in that contest. Are there any, is there anything similar that they're going to have to deal with coming back home and getting readjusted to the Eastern Standard Time?
Their body's already set for the Eastern Standard Time. You're going to get plenty of rest from Hawaii to LA and from LA to wherever you're going back home. So your body's going to already be back. You're going to be plenty rested. You're going to sleep on the plane. You ain't going to stay up just playing video games and all that stuff there. You'll probably starve there, but you're going to get some naps. You're going to get some rest. And I imagine when they'll get home late tonight and they'll probably get some rest tomorrow. If I'm the coach, I give them off tomorrow. Really, I do. I give Monday off. Say, sleep, fellas. I'll see you Tuesday morning, 6 a.m. But tomorrow is a day's rest. You need 1 good day's rest to get everything back right and keep moving forward.
That's what I was going. That's what I was wanting. I'm glad you said that because I'm wondering after spending 24 hours, 2 or 3 different flights, I gotta imagine that wears on the body.
Yeah. Just to answer your question, Bryan, they are on the road at Sacred Heart this upcoming Saturday.
Who's that? Delaware State?
Yeah, Delaware State's on the road at Sacred Heart.
So Sacred Heart any good?
We'll talk about that a little bit later, Coach. Who knows?
No, okay. So did the bus company saying they take it? They're gonna give them their money back? Is that what I'm reading?
Who said that?
What do you say?
I'd rather be golf for all the reckless accusations as it relates to the bus issue. The bus company took the blame for the missed flight, so the bizarre unpaid invoice theory has no merit. Number one, that's just good PR for the bus company. Go ahead and take it. They're spending that the way they need to spend it. So, but yeah, it is what it is. Unfortunate incident, and hopefully all parties will be able to get in the room and resolve all open issues, so something like this doesn't happen again. So the stuff that I was talking about, is just stuff that I've experienced in my professional career as an athletic administrator. Hey, let's
one more thing. Hold on, Drew. Hold on. Has anyone seen in the chat my Norfolk State nemesis? Has he showed up yet? We've been 2 hours into the show, and I haven't got my public apology from my reckless Norfolk State nemesis. You know who I'm talking about. If he's in the chat room or if he's quietly listening.
He was at the beginning of the show. I don't know if he's still in here, but he was.
Okay. All right. I'm just wondering because I haven't seen my public apology. So, but okay. I just thought I'd ask.
All right. Hey, when we come back from the break, we're going to talk about the games of the week for this upcoming week. We got a ton of them. We still got some teams who won't be playing this week, but most teams will be playing. And we're going to pick out we like to do top fives around here. So we're going to give you the top 5 games of the week coming up for you to watch. Hey, you could have been anywhere, but you're here with us on a Sunday night. Thank you for joining us on the Sunday night. Get those likes up, get those thumbs up, share, subscribe. Hey, you watching the BCSN SportsWrap. Bryan, A.D, Coach Norman. We'll be back in just a moment.
Hey, grab me one too.
This is Brian Fulford. A.D. Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN SportsWrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN SportsWrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
Choice Hotels is a family of brands that helps you get the most for your money so you can be any traveler you want to be.
You could be a free hot breakfast hero at a comfort hotel.
Yes!
That's how you waffle.
Mister, this script got a plot twist at a Radisson Hotel.
A business big leaguer.
Go for key.
Even the ultimate pool float inflator.
With 22 brands and the best value for your money, Choice Hotels has a stay for any you. Book direct at choicehotels.com, where travels come true. Gotta get the corners.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Got to give a Spartan Legion some love too. We don't want everybody to talk about our FAMU bias here on the BCSN SportsWrap. BCSN
Hey, Drew.
SportsWrap. Yes.
Okay, let me ask this question. I sent a poll out. I don't know if you can check the MyBCSN #1 Twitter handle, but who won halftime? Who won halftime? The Marching 100 or the Spartan Legion?
Let me look that up.
And then take it even further, the fifth quarter. Who won the fifth quarter? Because this is going to be a big point on Dr. Cavill's show in terms of who won the battle of the bands.
I will say this, and y'all, if you weren't there, you missed the fifth quarter. But when I believe the 100 came first with Earth, Wind, and Fire, that was what did they play from Earth, Wind, and Fire? I don't remember what it was, but then the Spartan Legion then the Spartan Legion came back with a different Earth, Wind, and Fire song. And for me, Earth, Wind, and Fire is like my favorite band of all time. Earth, Wind, and Fire. And you remember, Brian, we was trying to wrap up and get out the press box, and I just stopped and started singing along with the band up there. And then when the Spartan Legion came out, I'm like, oh hell, I'm like, I'm in no hurry to get up out this press box.
Right. Oh, but the 100 entered with that Coming to America. That when the 100 hit him with that after the Spartan Legion came, I was like, yo. And I've heard the 100 play that anthem from Coming to America, but man, it sounded good.
Yeah. Brian, I think this is what you were waiting for.
What's that?
Lennon Blow says, I'm right here, Brian. Congratulations.
All right. Thank you, Lennon. Appreciate you. Hey, it was a good game. Well, let me say this. Let me say this to Lennon and to all the Spartan Nation. You have something to be proud of, and I wish the Spartans great success this year because y'all look really good, and hopefully that continues and carries on. I hope they play well against East Carolina, and then we'll all be watching when they play their rivals, Virginia State and Hampton, in back-to-back weeks.
Yeah. But in typical Lennon Blow fashion, Brian.
Oh man. Cheap shot.
We'll be back in Atlanta in December.
I hope so.
And I like the confidence.
I cash that check.
I love the confidence, Lennon. I love it. I love the confidence. You're supposed to have confidence in your team. Wait a minute. One more from Lennon.
Oh boy.
Y'all know my Spartan Legion won both halftime and the fifth quarter.
Oh, there we go. And see, come on. I need somebody who's not. I need an unbiased opinion. I can't. That's like asking me who won. What do you think? I'm not gonna say 100. So come on. I need to know. This was a top 5 battle, Drew, and yes. I say that with all respect to the Sonic Boom, to the Jukebox, to the Aggies of A&T, whatever they call themselves. What other distinguished band am I forgetting from the SWAC? But this is I might even dare say this is a top 3.
You got the Human Jukebox. I mean, Sonic Boom of the South and the Human Jukebox.
I said both of them, but whatever. Okay. Yeah.
All right, but I don't know who won the battle because just like you, Brian, I'm a bit biased, but
of course
I do know who won the cell phone usage award. And
what are you talking about?
At halftime, I went to use my to do something on the internet on my cell phone. I could not get my internet on my phone because there were 22,000 people in the stadium. Looked like they were all using their cell phone and using all the Wi-Fi band at the same time. And it happened. And it only happened when the 100 was on. I swear to God, when the Spartan Legion came out there, my phone, I was able to use my the internet on my phone. Same thing with my and my iPad and my phone are on 2 different networks.
Well, that tells me who won the contest. Then that tells me who won the contest right there.
My phone is on Verizon. I could not get service on either one of them during halftime.
Yeah. Well, again, I'm curious to see what people think. Of course, those people who aren't biased, the non-FAMU, non-Norfolk State folks, I'm curious to hear what those folks think. Who won the 5th quarter? Who won the halftime show?
Tamara T says both halftime show were great, but the 100's Olympic tribute was fire. I think the 100 was more entertaining. Yes, I do think that was good. I had a picture of it. I took the pictures now from earlier, but you saw the picture earlier that I had with the matter of fact. I think think I've still got it. Let's see. Here we go.
I saw it.
Let's see if I can let me slide through to it. There it is, right there. That's what Tamara T is talking about.
Yeah. Now, here's something that I will say: the pregame was kind of clunky. It was clunky. Yeah, I'm not gonna shade Norfolk State. Instead, rather, I'm gonna give major props to Jackson State, because last year Jackson State was the home team and they led the pregame. And so after Jackson State played the national anthem, they got their crowd excited because they went into their anthem. And that was powerful because they got the fan base. And that's one of those things, Drew, that I think separates bands. When we talk about band rankings, and I know Dr. Gaville may talk about this on Tuesday's show when they get into the band battle, the band rankings, that separates good and great. Knowing how to engage with the crowd. And Jackson State, I hate to say this, anytime I have to give props to Jackson State, I cringe. I get a little tight. But their band does a great job of engaging right on the rip. So does the 100. But I was a little disappointed that Norfolk State, after they played the national anthem, didn't do anything to kind of they didn't have a theme or anthem song as they were coming off the field. It was kind of like we almost had dead air for like 2 minutes. It was kind of odd.
Yeah, I will say this, Brian. If you just talk about stand bands, as far as just what they do in the stand, not on the field, not fifth quarter, not zero quarter. I mean, Jackson State is probably number one. Southern's probably number two. I hate to say it. Those are probably the two top stand bands that are out there.
What's a stand band?
That's just them playing in the stands during the game. What they do in the stands during the game to keep the crowd hyped, to keep the players hyped, and everything like that. Those are probably the two of the best bands that I have seen engaging the crowd during the actions on the field. And part of that is knowing when to play and when not to play. And I am going to say this. There were times
and what to play. But there were times on yesterday when both bands, the Legion and the 100, were playing, and the referee was trying to communicate with the press box. Do what they want to do.
They were playing when the play was going on and the wrong team was playing. You're only supposed to play when your team is on offense. And they were playing when their team was on defense.
I was surprised that didn't get a flag or a warning. I didn't hear any warning, and I didn't see any flag. Usually you get that, and it was close. And I think there were a couple of times when the 100 were playing when Norfolk State had the ball, and maybe vice versa. I was really surprised that the refs didn't do a warning or anything of that nature.
Yeah, I mean, it was and so I will say this: when it came to stand presentations, both teams got demerits on yesterday with some of the things that they did. But just like the players, it was game one. It was game one for the band also. So I'm sure by the time
and the officials too, I guess, right?
And the clock operator. Because I think we had more. I counted. We probably had a good 10 resets of the clock during that game. Everybody.
Yeah.
All
right.
Yeah.
What we got, man? Top five. It's a full slate of games starting on Thursday, Drew. How are we doing this?
We're gonna start.
We're not going over every flipping game, are we?
No. But what we are gonna do, Brian, we're gonna start with the. We're gonna start with our non-D1s. We're gonna go with our top 5 games for the non-D1, and then we'll go with our top 5 games featuring Division One, our Division One schools. And I'm just these are in no particular order. I'm going straight down the matrix, and these are more in alphabetical order. How about a
We're only doing 5 though, Drew, right? 5. Right. Don't do 6 or 7. 5, right?
I'm gonna give you my 5. Yeah, y'all can throw anything. I will throw a couple of them out there if y'all want to take one off my list.
We'll go with your. Hey, you're running the ship, Drew. So if you say these are the 5, these are the 5 games of the week, and we're not going to caveat it by saying these are 80 Drews. These are the BCSN SportsWrap top 5 games for week 1.
And with that introduction, one game: Albany State at Valdosta State, a regional rivalry. These two teams are only about an hour and a half apart from each other here in South Georgia. Valdosta State, one of the top ranked teams in Division II, coached by former Texas Southern coach Tremaine Jackson. He was on coaching staff at Texas Southern, played at Texas Southern.
We had him on the show. We had him on the show last season.
Yeah, and I always joke with Tremaine, you know, when all my HBCU D2s get eliminated in the playoffs, I start rooting for Valdosta State because they're coached by HBCU alum. And
there you go.
They're 45 minutes from my house also, so great with that. But yeah, this is that's a regional matchup there, and that's gonna have a lot to do with regional ranking. So that's gonna be a very, very important matchup here for Super Region 2. How about this one? How about defending small school black college champion Benedict taking on Virginia State on Sunday in the NFL Hall of Fame Classic in Canton?
Yeah, the debut of Coach Dickerson taking over at Benedict, and Dr. Frazier of Virginia State, who I don't know if he was selling wolf tickets at the CIAA presser to the football media day, or whether he really believes that this team is not going to be, at least at the beginning of the season, as good as many people expect them to be. So this will be a good matchup, SIC versus CIAA.
And feel free to jump in anytime that you want to on any of these games, Coach. Here's one, Brian. I know I'm only supposed to give you 5. This is not a top 5 matchup, but this is what I want to keep my eye on. No, and I'm going to tell you why. Clark Atlanta travels to Fort Valley. I'm keeping
that should be a top 5. Why is that? Okay, mark that down, Coach. I'm trying to figure out if he's got 3 other better games than this one.
Okay. And you see the other 3 out here, but obviously Clark Atlanta, Teddy Keaton comes over from Allen, brings damn near everybody from Allen into Atlanta, and now they're out there playing. They won't be on the red turf this week. Do we call that the bloodthirst and tears turf? Yeah, I like that. We call that blood tears turf. Anyway,
trademark that.
I'm gonna send that up there to Atlanta, see if they like that one. But yeah, they travel down I-75 to Fort Valley, Georgia, to take on Fort Valley. Fort Valley predicted to be one of the top teams in the SIAC. A lot of people have Fort Valley and Albany State beating back-to-back weeks, not only in the Fountain City Classic, but in the SIAC championship game the following week. So very interested. Is Clark Atlanta gonna be that team that Allen was last year or better? And will Fort Valley get over the hump because they've been close the last couple of years? This is going to be a good test for both of these teams. Like you got something to say, Coach?
I do. 2 things. Let's rewind the tape a little bit. Let's go back to that one game, Virginia, where they talked about Dr. Frazier and the other coach. Which team in Virginia has that little running back that was pretty good? Did he graduate? Was he back?
That's Virginia Union. We're going to get to that game.
Okay. No. Is the running back back? Is he back or did he graduate?
Yes. No, he's back.
He's back.
Okay, he's back. Now we're saying that eligibility. So now we're saying Clark Atlanta is supposed to be a top D2 team because Coach Keaton took pretty much everybody he had at
including his quarterback.
Number 4.
He's 5'9".
Number 4 on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab preseason poll.
5'9". He's taller than me by an inch.
He's Conference Player of the Year.
He's 5'9".
What's that mean, Coach? What's that mean? 5'9". Wasn't Emmitt Smith 5'9"? Emmitt Smith was 5'9". Come on now, Coach.
Doug
Emmitt Smith
Flutie was
a
5'8".
running back, Brian.
Doug Flutie was 5'10". Michael Vick wasn't even 6 feet tall.
So we're saying a 5'9" guy's about to just. I mean, fellas, we got to change the
Drew
culture.
Brees was 5'9".
No, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. And he's a player of the year.
Wait
He's
a
a
minute.
quarterback. And we know that. We saw what he did at Allen. But I'm just saying the culture, the atmosphere, everything. I don't know if Clark Atlanta is going to get it done this year. I see him winning 5. I see him winning 5. I see him winning 5. And maybe next year, 7, 8. But this year, it's going to take some time. I mean, we're talking about a school that football is okay. That's something we do from August to November. Yeah, thank you, Brian. That's something we do from August to November.
That's not up under Dr. French. Dr. French wants to win, and if you think about it, Dr. French is the one who was the president at Miles when Miles turned from everybody's prom date into a winning program up under Coach Reginald Ruffin.
Dr. French is now the president at CAU?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Presidents don't win games, though, but I hear what you're saying.
But presidents hire the athletic director who hired the coach who wins the games.
Hold on. Let me ask something. Who was the SIC Player of the Year last year, Drew?
David Wright.
Okay. I'm just checking. Okay.
Was he the quarterback at Allen that's now at CAU?
Yes.
Yes, he is.
And why he's not preseason player of the year, we're gonna leave that one alone. But you forgot who's the signal call over there at Fort Valley also, Brian. That was Kelvin Durham, who came in to last season as the player of the year, as a preseason player of the year. So this is gonna be
This is a top 5 game, Drew. How is this not I can't wait to see the other 3 games, Drew. I don't know how this is not a top 5 game.
Brian, I just talked myself. Yeah, Brian, you just talked me into it. I'm moving this up on the top 5 list.
I'm telling you, come on now.
Coaching Fort Valley, that's Coach Gibbs, right?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
FAMU, y'all know Coach Gibbs, don't you?
Hey, stop it, Coach. Stop it. See, don't be messy. Don't be messy. Boy, I'm gonna tell Drew to hit the each, but
Coach,
don't be messy for us. Don't do that. Don't do that.
This is what we do to people like Farasi for those comments.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
Don't be messy for us.
Nah,
okay, I apologize.
All right.
I apologize.
All right, I'm moving it up on the list, Brian. Coach Farasi, you asked about the running back from Virginia. You're talking about Jada Byers and his Virginia Union Panthers will be taking on the Kentucky State Thoroughbreds. I think I'm moving that game down to the keep an eye on category now since you maybe move my other game up, Brian.
There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people hyping up. That's what I keep hearing. I've got a lot of Kentucky State is getting a lot of hype from a lot of people. So this is going to be a show me game right here. This is a show me game to see. And Virginia Union has 20. I think I heard this from from Dr. Parker. They have 20 returners, 20 starters coming back. I mean, damn, 20? Yeah. Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So okay, let's see what Kentucky State's got. Since everyone's typing up Kentucky State so much.
Yeah. They're throwing the ball. They're running the air raid offense.
All right. That's my other game to watch right there, Brian, because I've got these 2 on the list. How about Miles at West Alabama? Once again, that's going to be a regional matchup that's going to go a long way in determining whether the SIAC is able to get any additional teams into the playoffs. Miles, third year up under Coach Sam Shade, is really expected to make that next leap. They were 6-2 last year. They're expected to be in contention once again for the SIAC championship, taking on a very good West Alabama team. And my final game of the 5, how about Tuskegee and Johnson C. Smith? Red Tails Classic. This will be Sunday night, ESPN 2. Here's what's interesting about this one. Tuskegee won the Red Tails Classic for the first time last year, even though it's essentially their classic. It's like the OBC is for FAMU. That was the third year of the classic. Who did not coach in that for Fort Valley last year? That would be one coach, Maurice Flowers. Maurice Flowers won the first two Red Tails Classic. Guess who the coach of Johnson C. Smith is? Coach Maurice Flowers. Coach Maurice Flowers has a better winning percentage in the Red Tails Classic than the host team Tuskegee has in the Red Tails Classic. Tuskegee 1-2 in the Red Tails Classic. Coach Maurice Flowers 2-0 when he was at Fort Valley in the Red Tails Classic.
I smell an upset.
So Tuskegee, Johnson C. Smith, Crampton Bowl, Sunday night, ESPN2. But those are the 5-ish games.
I'm gonna tell you, Drew. I would move out the Virginia Union Kentucky State game. I'll be honest. Of the 6, that game would be number 6 on my list.
That's why I said that's the game to watch. That's the game to keep an eye on. That's the ish game.
We're in agreement.
All right, Coach, you like those games?
I like those games. Only game I'm kind of suspect about. I mean, well, not suspect, but I'm scratching my head is that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't the Orange Rum Classic on Sunday too?
Yes.
Are they different times? Because if they're the same time,
OBC,
we already know who's doing what.
OBC comes on in the afternoon. The Red Tails is in the evening.
Okay, what's the difference between afternoon and evening?
I think the Orange Blossom Classic is scheduled for 3:00 Eastern, Brian, if I had that correct.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
And then the Red Tails Classic is at 7:00 Eastern, I believe.
Okay. So yeah. So okay.
Yeah.
I got
it. So you barring overtime, you should finish the Orange Blossom Classic before the Red Tails Classic. Now, where you do have the overlap is with the NFL Hall of Fame Classic. That's going to overlap with the Orange Blossom Classic.
Well, I'm not worried about the NFL. I'm watching the Orange Blossom.
No, on NFL Classic. That's the Benedict and Virginia State game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So those are our top 5. And just for full disclosure, Coach Langston is off this week. Langston's taking their one of their buys to open up the week. They won't be playing until September 7th. All right, Brian. We're gonna do a quick one, and then we're gonna come back with
keep it going, Drew. We're almost there to the finish line.
All right, Brian.
I'm just saying, I'm almost home, Drew. That's why I want to be able to, kind of time this right, where we finish the show right.
I think you said 2.5. How far are you?
I'm about 15. I'm in Orlando. I'm about 15. Yeah, 15 minutes to the house.
Oh, okay.
All right, Brian. It was time for our scheduled break, but Brian.
Take the break, Drew. Take the break.
All right. Hey, come back last segment. We're gonna go to the Division I top 5 games and give our closing and parting shots. You could have been anywhere, but you're here with us on the Sunday night. Get those likes and shares up. Subscribe. Send it to a friend. Make sure you tune in. Make sure you go to the BCSN Pod Zone if you miss any portion of this. And you can find it anywhere that you find your favorite podcast. Coach Farasi, Bryan, A.D. Be back in just a moment.
Choice Hotels is a family of brands that helps you get the most for your money so you can be any traveler you want to be. You could be a free hot breakfast hero at a comfort hotel. Yes! That's how you waffle! Mr. This script got a plot twist at a Radisson hotel. A business big leaguer. Go for key.
Even the ultimate pool float inflator.
With 22 brands and the best value for your money, Choice Hotels has a stay for any you. Book direct at choicehotels.com, where travels come true. Gotta get the corners.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted Kever's voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KeaversVoice.com. Kever's Voice, Kever's Voice, KeversVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties. Through its programs, Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentJAX.
Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulder Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes. Never not working. Never not working. Never ever not working. Head & Shoulder Scalp Shield. Never not working.
When you're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics, there's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Back for our final segment here on the Black College Sports Network, the BCSN SportsWrap. AD Drew here. You can follow me on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, at BCSN Drew. Coach Farasi Norman. Coach, I got your Twitter handle. I hit you on it, but I do not remember your Twitter handle. It's at Coach Farasi on X, if I have it correctly.
Yes, sir, you do, at Coach Farasi.
Yes, and you can hit Bryan up on X also at DRB365. All right, y'all. Now it's time for us to get into our top Division 1 games of the week. Let's start off with Morgan State and Hampton. Hampton, one of the few teams. Matter of fact, Hampton may be the only team where we have not asked who's playing quarterback this year. As Chris Zealous comes back to the Hampton Pirates once again. Chris Zealous right now maybe preseason is probably the top, maybe the top HBCU quarterback. Maybe
he's mine. He's mine.
You could make an argument for him being the top quarterback coming into the season out of the HBCU quarterbacks. There's a guy down in Grambling who may say throw my name into that race, but really outside of those two coming into the season, I'm not saying that's how it's going to be at the end of the season, but coming into the season, you can definitely make an argument that those are the top two quarterbacks going up against who a lot of people are saying is going to be the number one defense in the MEAC. So what do we think about this game, fellas?
Hampton not to cut you off, BF, but Hampton has an interim head coach, don't they?
Yes, their head coach was let go after spring practice. Don't know the details about what happened with that, but they did go with somebody on staff at that point in time. Bryan, you might want to mute while until you get ready to talk, because I'm getting a lot of feedback from you. But yeah, they went with an interim coach. He was let go after spring practice, and he brings them into the season. So, but like I say, the coach was already on staff. So, and this season is going to be an opportunity for him to audition for the job. Here, we saw Winston-Salem go with an interim coach for 3 years. So, before they gave him a contract. So, it is what it is at that point. Like I say, Coach Damon Wilson top defense when he was at Bowie State. That has translated up to the Division I level at Morgan State. And who can forget last year when Morgan State almost pulled off the upset against Northwestern.
Morgan State's supposed to be one of the better teams in HBCU football, period, this year too, correct?
The question with Morgan State is, what are they going to do offensively? Do they have a quarterback? Are they going to get their offense together? Because no one, the two teams no one has questions about defensively are Alabama State and Morgan State. Everybody has questions about what those two teams are going to do on offense. And all the pundits say if those two teams get their offense together, they're championship level teams. Brian, let me get your 2 cents on this.
I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a great matchup for my preseason quarterback of the year, Chris Dillis. And I think the young running back, Elijah Burris, I think is his name. That's a lethal 1-2 combination. And I think what I've taken away from the fact that Hampton didn't lose a lot of players.
Brian, I'm getting some feedback, like you changed your audio or something like that, because I'm not hearing you clearly. I don't know if you changed your device.
Yeah, something happened. I'm on my headset.
You sound better now, though.
All right. Well, I'm closer to home. I don't know, what the signal's like right here. So, but anyway, I'll be quick. I'll just say it should be take it as a positive sign that many players from Hampton did not leave when the coaching change was made. So, and I don't know if that's because there was little time to change or transfer, or is it because they actually liked the coach who was elevated to the head spot. But it's a great opportunity for Hampton whenever they get a chance to play in these HBCUs. I remember last year, Hampton either went 4-0 or 3-1 in the non-conference before the GA schedule, right?
They start. I believe it was 3-1, and at one point in time, the computers here at the Black College Sports Network had them number 1 for a week.
Yeah, so great opportunity for Hampton to really show their mettle, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Hampton does.
Yeah, and there are plenty of games that people are putting into the chats. Some of them are on our list, some of them are not. We'll continue to move on. I mentioned a team that quarterback is the issue, has been the issue in the past. Defense has not been the issue. Well, that being the Alabama State Hornets. Well, they traveled down to Miami, Florida to take on the North Carolina Central Eagles in the Orange Blossom Classic. That game is going to be Sunday. And if you're going to partake in that game, we ask that you tune in to the Black College Sports Network, where we will do our radio broadcast of the Orange Blossom Classic there in Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. North Carolina Central, FCS playoff team from a season ago. If Davis Richards does not get hurt in that game, in that playoff game, may have been a different outcome for Central, as a lot of people had Central winning a couple of games in the playoffs last year, but he did get himself hurt in that particular game. But he's not there anymore. The quarterback who came on for him last year is now the incumbent starter there at Central. And for Alabama State, it is expected that Andrew Body is going to be the starter, but it is not yet confirmed that he will be the starter there for Alabama State. A lot of people have some questions about whether Andrew Body is going to be the man at Alabama State. Started off good at Texas Southern, was not able to stay healthy. So we only saw him for really half of his freshman season put up any type of numbers. Last season was pretty much a washout. So Orange Blossom Classic, Alabama State Central. Gonna start with you this time, Brian.
That's the story of the year, Drew. The way you just led that, I don't know if you were just trying to hype people up, but if everybody is not starting that game, that's the story of the season. My God, that's the story of the season if everybody is not starting that game.
All right. Coach Farasi.
We know that Alabama State has good defense. Their head coach is a defense-minded guy. Offensively, the kid came over from Texas Southern. I'm a little confused. I told you guys last week I support two things. I support black coaches, black quarterbacks. I'm not against Andrew Body, but I personally have never seen him do anything to say, he's at Alabama State now? I know Alabama State's ranked like number 1 to win it. And from what I heard, he's QB1. And so I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to have to watch this kid to see if he's who he says, because I know everyone said Andrew Body, but, I judge quarterbacks on W's and L's. He's not a very big guy. Honestly, he should probably be a receiver or a DB. He's athletic, but he's not a very big guy. So he don't have many W's, but he's got a lot of L's. Some people say, he's at Texas Southern. They weren't very good. Okay. But then again, the quarterback is supposed to make what he said. We just talked about the 5'9" kid from Allen going to CAU. Okay. I mean, he's going to be a difference maker. So if he is QB1, which I'm understanding he is, I'm going to have to watch this game and see what this kid's really about, because right now I know they got a good defense and I know they can run the ball. Can he be that push over the top? Can he be that push over the top? Now, North Carolina Central, from what I understand, I saw that coach a couple weeks ago on a coach's show. His team's still upset about the Howard game.
And they should be.
And then they're upset that some people are downgrading him a little bit, that they're not who they're supposed to be. So according to what he's saying, he's about to let his boys off the leash. They got a good team. They're ready to go. He's saying, hey, we're still number 1. We're still the best. We're going to prove to everybody. And I know he's a good coach. We've seen him work. We've seen his team. I got no doubt he's not reloading. He's just putting new bullets in the gun. So they're set. So Andrew Body, he needs to show up. He needs to show up because defense is only going to be able to do so much against North Carolina Central. They're only going to be able to do so much. So he's going to have to show up and say, hey, this is the reason why I'm QB1. This is the reason why I transferred over here. This is the reason why coaches and everybody's, shouting my name on internets and platforms and all this stuff like that. If not, then North Carolina Central's going to get that one. They're going to get that one.
All right. Chennis Berry brings in the South Carolina State Bulldogs into Bragg Memorial Stadium in Tallahassee, Florida. Florida A&M has a 20-game home winning streak.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Florida A&M has not lost to an HBCU not named Jackson State since the pandemic. Since before the pandemic. Chennis Berry has won his last 23 consecutive games in the regular season. What gives, fellas?
We're BF.
Go ahead, coach.
Okay, no problem. Chennis Berry's a good coach. We saw what he did at Southern. We saw what he did at Benedict, and I have no doubt he's going to do the same thing at South Carolina State. He inherits a good team. They got some of those big linemen that I was indulged in love with last year. They're coming back. He's got 2 of those good backs coming back. He's got good defense coming back. He brung up a good number of his players to come with him. So that's going to be a good thing. I did not know FAMU was on a 20-game win streak. That's a hell of a streak to
20-game home win streak.
At home. Okay, that's a heck of a home streak to defend. So as Coach Cozy, that's the first thing you're doing at your team. Fellas, we're on a 20-game home win streak.
I believe 2018 was the last time they lost at home.
So you got to have a good hard practice next week. I'm throwing that out there every day, all day. We have a 20 home game win streak. We're not losing this one. We're just not losing this one. And they played well last week. Once again, clean up the little bitty thing, run the ball better, FAMU. Use Dean. He's back there for a reason. Use that big line and make it 21 straight. But I see that being a good game. I can't say who's going to win because I don't really know what Chennis is doing over there. I know Chennis is a good coach. He's inheriting a good team. We saw what FAMU did yesterday. They do a little cleanup. I see, I'm going to say 28-31.
Bryan.
Yeah.
Thanks for that clarification, EA. We lost to Jackson State and South Carolina State in 2018.
Yeah, but Jackson State was at the beginning of the season, and South Carolina State was the end of the season.
Correct.
Is that not a part of the 20 home win streak?
That was the last game. South Carolina State. Last game they lost to was Jackson State. South Carolina State at home. Remember,
in
the 2 games that they
2018.
lost to Jackson State were in Miami in the OBC.
Correct.
Yes. All right, but Brian, South Carolina State, Florida A&M.
That's one of our 5, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. But the home opener for the defending HBCU national champs, 20-game home winning streak, the debut of Chennis Berry, who many people regard as one of the rising stars. So it'll be interesting to see how he puts his footprint on this historic and storied South Carolina State program. I think FAMU's gonna be in for a dogfight. No pun intended.
All right. Let's go off of the map a little bit with this game. We've got an HBCU against a non-HBCU, but this is against the 13th member of the SWAC, as Southern takes on McNeese State as one of our games to watch. Southern team that a lot of people don't really know what to expect out of Southern this season. The computers at the Black College Sports Network, like Southern, they had them as the number 5. I think they're going to finish 5th at the end of the season. McNeese State, a program that is not afraid to play other members of the SWAC. They're one of the few teams in that region that does not mind playing SWAC teams, does not mind traveling to play those SWAC teams, although they got the 2 SWAC opponents at home this year. They play Alcorn State later on this season at home also. But Southern traveling to McNeese State on Saturday. Ryan?
I'll be honest, Drew, I'm surprised you picked this one. Let me ask this: Are you counting the Thursday games?
The Thursday games, well, those are kind of my ish games, but I think the Thursday game that you're talking probably about is Jackson State, Louisiana Monroe.
Yes, sir. So if I had one,
sell me that game then.
So what? The Jackson State, Louisiana Monroe?
Yeah, sell me that game.
I think it's a great opportunity for Jackson State to get a win. UL Monroe. I looked into this previously, and so if my numbers are off here, I apologize. But I think UL Monroe is ranked or predicted to finish bottom 3 in Phil Steele's conference previews. Jackson State, people are regarding as some polls have been ranked number 1, preseason number 1 in the HBCU football. I think this is a winnable contest. We've already seen an FCS knock off an FBS team yesterday. When who was it who beat New Mexico? We were talking about that game. They were Montana State knocked off New Mexico. Now that was that was historically a bad New Mexico team from the year before, but it is what it is. So is Jackson State up for the challenge, and especially on a Thursday? I think they will be. I will be shocked if Jackson State gets, even if Jackson State loses, I'll be shocked if they get beat by more than 3 touchdowns. I expect to win, though. I'm thinking this is a winnable game. But whatever the spread is, Jackson State should cover it, and Jackson State is a live dog, in my opinion. I would put a little pizza money on Jackson State to win outright.
Well, Brian, that Thursday really shouldn't matter because it's the opening game of the season. It's not like you're going in on a short week. You've had all summer.
I got you.
Prepare for them. It'd be different if this was a week 3 or week 4 matchup where you're playing them on a short week there, Brian. Would you agree with that, Coach?
Say that one more again, brother.
We've talked about the Jackson State, UL Monroe playing on the Thursday night. I was like, at this point, at this time of the season, it's a non-factor. It's versus where if this was like a week 3 or a week 4 matchup, would you be playing them on a short week on the road?
I got Jackson State the reason why TC Taylor's going into year 2, he still got something to prove. Still got a couple of doubters out there. I think that brother's a good coach. Then, like we said last week, he got 85% of his team coming back, and they were what, 7-4 last year? They weren't bad. I mean, to me, 7-4 is a good record, and everything like that. But some people pooped on 7-4 probably because they got hung up on what Dion was doing. But 7-4 was a good record. So you got 85% of your team coming back off of 7-4 going forward. That's pretty good to me. On top of, he retained his coaches, so he's got his nucleus there. ULM. They're a New Mexico State type. So it's not like they're getting ready to play a LSU or Georgia. They're playing a mediocre D1. So I think Jackson State can go in there, play good football for what they got, come out victorious. I'm not gonna give a score, but I'm gonna say play good football, stay together. I got Jackson State.
All right, and our 5th game on the schedule is a home game disguised as a classic. That's going to be the Labor Day Classic, where Texas Southern travels to Prairie View. There, dang, coach, you ain't let me get it out. Prairie View, the defending SWAC West champions, coming into this particular game. Now, coach, go ahead and give me your analysis.
I think Texas Southern hired Chris Dishman because Chris Dishman played for the Oilers. Who did Bubba McDowell play for? The Oilers. Chris Dishman had NFL ties. He's got a name.
You actually have 3 Oilers in the SWAC right now.
Yes, you do. But I'm just talking about in that scenario right there, that little bubble, all that recruiting. So they wanted to compete with Prairie View because they've been getting beat by Prairie View. Okay, so they said, well, let's see if we can get this equalized. So we go get a guy who's got NFL ties. He played in the NFL. Chris Dishman was a player. That's gonna get it wrong. But there's a difference between coaching and playing. Now he's got a coaching background. He just didn't come off the front like some of these guys. He coached in the AAF and he coached in the USFL. He was doing the spring stuff. So he got a little coaching in him. I seen him a couple weeks ago on a coach's show. This one disappoints me a little bit. Remember that hat I was talking about with that everything I did roll into that hat? Mm-hmm. They asked him a question. I'm gonna give a scenario. Coach, so how you feeling about your team and everything's coming up? You're supposed to be ready for that question, Coach. Coach, okay, you didn't get Andrew Body back. Well, we tried to call Andrew Body, but he didn't want to come back, so we just gonna go with what we got. I need a little bit more than that, Coach. See, people just think coaching is all about X's and O's and getting to the field and yelling and screaming and blowing the whistle. It's so much more, you guys. You got to be able to talk to the media. You got to be ready for that job. You filled out the application. You accepted it. So a lot of it goes into there. Prairie View, Bubba, he's ready. He's on year, 3, 4. On top of, he was a DB coach for 12 years. So, and he's got a good team. Every year, late in November, they're knocking on that door. They ain't been able to open it, but they're knocking on that door. They're going to beat Texas Southern. I'm going to say 35-7. They're going to beat Texas Southern.
Right. And, Brian, got anything you want to add?
I love that prediction. I have no comments, and I agree 100% with Coach Farasi.
That's my man right there.
And now our ish game, our 5-ish game, has to be Alcorn on Thursday traveling to UAB.
Alabama Birmingham?
Yeah, Alabama Birmingham. Trent Dilfer, I believe, is the coach at Alabama Birmingham.
And he went 1-10 last year, didn't he? He went 1-10, right?
Something like that. I don't remember what the record was, but it was not good. And you've got Tyler Bacon, who's coming off of injury, got the season back last year. Expect is going to be the number 1 quarterback, and Tyler Bacon, having played at the Division I level, playing quarterback at the University of Missouri. So you've got a quarterback who has experience against that level, bringing the Alcorn State team in, who, but once again, new head coach, but a team a lot of people expect to compete and possibly win the West. Go ahead, Brian. We'll start with you.
You threw me another curveball, Drew. Surprised you picked this game.
This is the ish game. This is the ish game. This is the extra game just to keep an eye on.
I don't know. See, these are the games where the spreads are out. I'd love to know what the spread is in this game. I know the spreads are out for this game. I don't have an opinion about Alcorn. They're the preseason predicted #1 team. So I guess we're going to find out. And look, I know they're going up against an FBS, and so I know some people won't judge a team, but I think any team that is supposed to be the best team in your conference against the average FBS team, let's not sit here and act like UAB is a juggernaut in their conference. They're not in a Power 4 or used to be Power 5. They're not even predicted to be a top Group 5 team, okay? So UAB is a middle-of-the-road average Group of 5 team. So if the best team in the SWAC West gets boat raced and can at least cover the, again, I don't know if you've looked it up yet, Drew, while I'm talking. Whatever the spread is, if it's probably 28 to 25 points, somewhere in there, 24 to 25, 28 points. If they can't cover 3 touchdowns, I'm looking at Alcorn like, either UAB is going to be really good this year, and that way I'm looking at UAB to win whatever conference they're in. I'm going to go look for some futures on UAB to win their conference, or I'm looking at Alcorn like, what's going on with y'all to start this year? You know what I'm saying? So that's my take.
Lawrence says Alcorn is plus 25.5 on FanDuel.
Yeah, see, that's what I thought. So, what's the over/under? Probably the over/under is probably in the 50s. So, and what's always interesting, and Coach, you tell me when you play these games, how the first quarter goes. Like we saw Delaware State get down 14-0, right? Before they really kind of settled. Hell, damn, you got down 14-0. So, who's going to jump out on somebody? You know, if Alcorn allows UAB to jump out on them early, there may be no coming back from that. But can you stay competitive early? Can you avoid being backed up deep in your own territory, which means then you have to punt to midfield and then potentially give up a punt return touchdown, i.e. what happened to Delaware State? Those are the kind of things that you're going to be paying attention to in the first quarter. A, don't give up a big play, i.e. what happened to FAMU. And B, don't get backed up deep in your own territory and have to punt like what happened to Delaware State. So for the teams like Jackson State, Southern, even though Southern's not playing the FBS, but I'm going to use them. And even this Alcorn team, that's what I'm looking to see. Can those teams stay out of those danger spots in the first quarter? Let kids get a chance to get their feet underneath them, play hard, hit somebody in the mouth early, and send a message to that other team that's at home that, hey, you're going to be in a dogfight for 4 quarters. Don't think you're going to come in here and boat race us by 26, 7 points.
Coach?
I want to throw a couple things out there real quickly. One, Alcorn, I'm kind of disappointed in the way you did Fred McNair. That brother has blood and history in that university. They should have been able to sit down like professionals and work out a deal. He should have been able to leave when he wanted to leave. Now, I don't really know the particulars. We all heard this, we heard that, we seen on the media. But regardless, point is, him, his brothers, his family, his son, they all went to school there. They all graduated from there. You're supposed to sit down with that brother and say, Coach, what can we do for you? Because he's done a lot for that university. It is what it is now. They got a new coach. Everyone's excited. They moved on. He's got a new job. He's moved on. I just want to throw that out there. Trent Dilfer is not the guy that's going to turn Alabama Birmingham. They was 1-10 last year, if I'm not mistaken, Drew. They was horrible. So he ain't just going to turn around this year. He's not that guy, okay? I know me and BF talked about it last year, talking about, well, he won a Super Bowl. the defense, and he had a good running game. He would just happen to be right there. That's the way I'm not taking my words back. He had a good defense, and he had a good running game, and he happened to be right there. What we tell quarterbacks, don't lose it. You ain't got to win it. Just don't lose it. That's what he did. Just don't lose it. So he's not going to turn that team around. Alcorn had a good team last year. I know they brought in some good guys. They retained some coaches. So it goes back to what Bryan just says. Don't give up the big play. Don't get backed up. Come out, run the ball. I'm always saying run the ball. I'm a run the ball type guy. They got good receivers. So you have to use what you got early to get up on these guys. But if you happen to get down 7, 10, 14, do not panic because they're not that kind of team that can just finish you. They're not that. They're not. He's not that kind of coach that's coaching that kind of stuff. Now, they're not just horrible. They're D1 athletes. Let's go ahead and give it to them. But I'm Alcorn. Come out there, run the ball. Often, heavy, throw the quick slant game. Test them deep. See what they got in their secondary. Kick the ball. Get some points. Okay? Fight, and look up in the fourth quarter, and it might be a 10-13. You're right there. It might be a 20-23. You're right there.
Coach, you still there?
I think Coach got sniped.
I think Coach got sniped. All right, I think he got it. All right, Bryan, it's about time for us to get ready to pick up this show and get out of here while we wait on Coach to come back and give his parting shot. So, Bryan, go ahead. Anything you got to close out with?
I just want to take a second to thank everybody in Atlanta who we saw that walked by our booth, that interacted with the BCSN Game Time, whether it been on Friday or on Saturday. We continue to try to engage with as many different fan bases and, continue to, I just want to thank everybody. And it was a great opening game for the HBCU football season. And I'm looking forward to this week. I mean, it's exciting. I mean, I feel like, Drew, life is busy, for just my personal life and everything going on. But man, it makes it so much easier to get through the week when you know you got football beginning on Thursday, doesn't it? Man, it warms my soul. I'm so excited, ready for this year to start, Drew. Can't wait.
Yeah, definitely. It's just it is so great to have football to get back to look forward to on Saturdays. That means the weather is about to break. Let Coach Farasi get his camera together. You ready? Ready, Coach?
Hey, I do. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you hear us?
I apologize to the chat room. I apologize to you guys. I know I've been having problems. My camera been moving up and down, and my battery just went dead. So I had to come back here, hurry and put it on the charger. I tell you, hey, if it ain't for luck, I don't have none. Once again, check me out. Hand up. If it ain't for luck, I don't have none. I do apologize to the chat room, everything like that, you guys. I'm gonna go by the I know everybody been saying, I've seen it, people been telling me there's this thing at Walmart you can get that'll boost my phone up. So I'm gonna go ahead and spend a little money. I'm cheap with my money. I ain't got a lot of it, so I'm cheap with it. So I'm gonna go get that. So that won't happen next week. And next week I'm gonna have my phone on the charger. So that don't happen. See what I'm saying? How you get better? That goes into that. I was talking about what I was wearing. Anyway, like I was saying, Alcorn. Run the ball, keep the game close, and stay positive. I believe you can get this one. I really do. I'm not going to predict the score. Could be 7-3, could be 6-6, 6-8. I mean, I just believe if you stay together with 85% of your team that you had coming back from last year and TC Taylor's getting better, I believe that they can. I think they can get this one. I believe they really can get this one. We there?
My fault. I muted myself. Any party shots you want to give? Because we're ready to pick up this show and get out of here. Can you hear me, Coach?
Hello?
Coach Norman, can you hear me? Bryan, can you hear me?
I hear you. Let's get us out of here, Drew. Let's get us out.
I think, Coach, you can't hear us, but looks like we're gone. So
hello?
We're here, Coach. Can you hear us?
Something's going on. There we go. Let's get out of here. Let's pick up and get out of here, Drew. We got a busy day starting tomorrow.
Yeah, busy day, busy week. First day of classes in Tallahassee coming up tomorrow, and hey, let's just have fun. We got 3-day weekend coming up next weekend, y'all. Hey, won't be on next Sunday. We will be here next Monday because we're going to be in Miami next Sunday for the OBC. So we're going to bring the show to you on Monday. So please adjust your schedules accordingly next week. So
but tell them to check out the online. I think you did this, but I'm gonna say it again. Check us out. We'll be doing the radio call, the online audio only call of the Orange Blossom Classic next Sunday. So that'll be fun.
Yes, it will be. Been a long time. Got to dust off my radio skills. I don't know if you know this, Brian. I started out on the radio as an overnight DJ.
No, I did not know that. Learn something new every year, every day, every week with you, Drew.
Yes. My DJ name was Quincy Knight, and I started off with a little Quiet Storm show.
Oh my God! Jesus, help! Let's go. Peace out, everybody. Let's get out of here, Drew. Pick it up and let's get out of here.
So for Coach Farasi Norman, Brian Fulford, this is A.D. Drew. Travel light, everybody. Wahala. If I can find the outro.